listening to the Pittsburgh Pile Driver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
Happy Thirsty Thursday, everybody. It's the time of the week where we most enjoy ourselves when we talk about WrestleTime Talkie Town. And that's what we're going to do for you here today. We've got the OG, the original three, the trifecta, the three musketeers, Poot the Bard, Beef the Legend, Ransom Dummy Ding Ding Dong Face, Hickety Bockety Hickenbottom. And we're here to do Wrestle Talk Town Timies for your ear hole. That's about it. I don't have too much else to say. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, strap some melatonin to the back of my throat, and head to bed. Before this stallion gets a little too rambunctious, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to my main man, Beef the Legend, because from what I understand, he has things to talk about.
Oh, boy.
He has words that he wants to say. So he said earlier today in the chat, he said, boy, do I have some things to say. Or something along those lines. So, take it away, cowboy.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's been a minute, and we've all missed you. I'm not going to do the standings today because I don't care. If you need to know where you stand, then that reflects more on you as an individual than me as a person.
I would like to know. I care about how I'm reflected. I'm not too proud.
Don't tell him.
Maybe we'll get there at the end of the podcast there. But, yeah, that's right, make them wait, yeah. So, let's talk, shall we? Let's talk. All right, so first of all, this is of general interest, I feel.
General interest?
This is going to be the kind of, you say cunnilingus?
No, I said general interest. Like saluting a general.
My buddy at work made the same question. Made the same joke about questions when my boss was like, "Anybody have any general questions?"
General questions.
Anyway, moving right along. So this is not going to be like the most like positive of podcasts, because I think we've had those. Not to say there's because there's not room for that.
Let's get into some hatred.
Yeah, let's
I would love it.
Let's bitch a little. Let's bitch a little.
Yeah,
I want to get into some hatred. I want to get into some anger and vitriol. I want to offend some people. Go ahead, cancel me. I dare you.
All right, so I want to talk about, and this is something that you. My computer keeps on like beeping at me every time I talk. Beep. Stop it.
Beep boop bop.
Beep beep boop.
I think it's like my messenger catching up. Anyway, so.
Bing.
Ransom, you kind of read my mind a little bit with posting some stuff about WCW in our chat.
Oh.
Yup.
Well, I can't do scores because I haven't updated the scores. So whoops. Might be.
Whoops.
Doesn't matter.
So anyway, I give you the scores from last time. So
I'll take it.
Ransom posted some stuff in the chat regarding WCW pay-per-views and just WCW in general. He posted a video of Kevin Nash.
No, I did.
Who posted that?
I posted that. Thank you. And it was, it wasn't because of Kevin Nash. Anything you did.
Very important to know who posted what.
Yes, sir.
I agree. I mean, it's all a blur because
I participated.
It's true. It's true. That is of note. But I mean, like, there is so much stuff posted on our chat on a daily basis. Anyway, we're gonna move past that because I'm not gonna take cheap shots at Tom when he's not here. Anyway, my point here.
Trebek.
I'm
Bing pow, sucker.
Way off course here. All right, so.
Yeah, can we get back to the vitriol?
I'm getting there. A video of a moving picture, if you will, of Kevin Nash.
Talkie.
Yes, the talkies. Jackknife after jackknife after jackknife on people. and the ref was counting 3.
Yeah, the ref was counting 3, but Kevin Nash was
Nash was
just standing
not
there
finished.
waiting for more people to come into
Yeah.
the ring.
No one
Kevin
was
Nash wasn't
covered.
making any counters. It was a jackknife powerbomb. Kevin Nash stood there waiting for the next person to get in the ring, and the ref counted 3 to the guy laying flat on the mat, which no one was covering.
Yep.
Yeah. So
It was like a glitch in a game.
Hurts my balls.
Okay.
Small balls.
So, like, initially people were like, oh, yeah, no, it's because it was a stipulation that Kevin Nash just had to powerbomb people and their shoulders had to be on a mat. And finally someone was like, nah, man, like,
Shut up.
that's not true. Like, he was
Shut
sending
your
people earlier.
Yeah, shut your fucking
was-
whore
was
mouth.
Some fucking ridiculous ass WCW fucking match where they're like, Kevin Nash must beat the universe, or else Goldberg will reign again.
Oh, you're gonna summon
And-
Tom. Don't say his name 3 times.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's the iceberg. Ship sinking.
Boy.
Oh,
Anyway,
sad face.
so-
Tom, we love you. Anyway, go on.
That it came to be, I think everybody scored all the points in this pay-per-view anyway. So that spurned Ransom saying, you know, was I just some wide-eyed, some pie-eyed youth, as Poot would say? Was I some naive young gentleman to think that WCW was ever not this bad? No, Ransom. Yes, Ransom, you were. You were a pie-eyed lad. In our
Oh.
minds, WCW was like on par somehow with WWE. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. It was at its best.
I thought you were going to say WCW is on par with AEW. Oh.
We'll get there. At
Oh.
its best, WCW absolutely was competition. I don't think anybody's debating that. However, WCW was not at its best very often. Did they
83
hit?
weeks.
Did they strike while the iron was hot with the NWO? Absolutely. Does a blind squirrel find a nut every once in a while? I don't know, Vince Russo. You tell me. So yeah.
Oh, that's
like,
sick burn, though.
Absolutely. They did something right. But then they kept doing the same thing right. They were like, oh, so you like fuck, do you? Let's fuck all over you on every fucking show, every fucking episode of Night Show.
So
We're
do you
gonna fuck
like
on you.
fucking, do you?
We're, you know, I can't keep Cody's, I just can't get Cody's comment out of my head. That rep was trying to fuck on me. You know, that's fucking, you know, Bischoff and Russo were like, let's fuck on him good. Let's get him, boys.
Let's give them the business.
It was all the fucking time. I watched, and I'm sure some eagle-eared viewer, listener, out there will know the exact year, but I can't be asked with looking it up right now. But, like, it was Halloween Havoc, and, okay, first of all, the main event was Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan.
God.
This wasn't 1985. This was, like, 1995, 96, somewhere in that era. So, like, a good decade past when these men should have been main eventing.
Main eventing together.
Yes, that's a fair point. I love Roddy Piper. I think he was the greatest, one of the greatest to ever do it, especially as a bad guy.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
you
One
know,
of the best promos
Hogan,
of all time.
Yeah, oh my God. Hulk Hogan, as much as it loathes me to say, was a catalyst for the industry. Twice. So, yeah. All right, I get it. Like, let's give them their flowers, like, but they haven't had them already. That all being said, this was... Okay, first of all, let me talk about this cage, right? I don't know if you remember WCW steel cages, but imagine...
Oh, God.
Imagine going to Tractor Supply and being like, hey, And for those of you that may not be from this part of the world or don't know what Tractor Supply is, it's a place where hicks go to gather, I imagine, but also to like get things like animal feed and animal cages and things of that nature. So you go to the store and you're like, hey, I need something to fence in my cattle. And they would say, well, we have this. And you would like, I would like, 300 feet of this, please. That's what it was. It wasn't chain link. Okay, it wasn't like the solid blue bars like WW or eventually black bars like WWE had. No, no, no. This thing was like flimsy as fuck with like big, I don't know, probably foot like a foot
Yeah.
diagonal squares in it. So we're talking like these big like sandwich sized squares. That's what it's built out of. Every time someone would hit it, I was like, "Oh my god, it's going to fall into the audience and bifurcate somebody."
Bifurcate! That right there is a $50 word, motherfuckers.
Thanks, man. All right. So like, okay, let's pretend like maybe the cage wasn't the worst. Let's pretend that maybe
Well.
Piper and Hogan had. I'm getting there. I'm going somewhere. All right. Let's pretend that maybe Piper and Hogan had somewhere to go. This match was so bad that like the match ended with Roddy Piper by winning by submission, I think, or pass out, whatever, and he was then handcuffed to the cage while Hogan and Bischoff and various other NWO sundries pelted him with words and spit and some flimsy chops. But it was so nonchalant, the ending, that I missed the match. I was like, or I missed the ending. I was like, and yes, of course, I was doing other things because no one just sits down and watches wrestling anymore. So I was multitasking. But I missed, and I'm like, is the pay-per-view going off the air without a finish of the match with Piper just being handcuffed to the fucking cage? And it was believable because it was WCW, and you never knew when they were gonna fuck on you. Here, Ted Turner, here's $50 of my hard-earned money. Oh yeah, watch this. Hope you like being really pissed off, kid. Like, oh, you saved that from your grandmammy's giving you for fucking birthdays, huh? Happy birthday, kid. Here's a kick in the nuts. So, as
What
this
year is it?
As this is happening, a fucking fan is climbing this flimsy ass cage. And like the cameras are cutting to the fan, watching it to the point where I'm like, is this a plant? Like, is this supposed to be happening? No, he was legit not supposed to be there. But they kept looking at him like, what are you doing? You don't draw attention to it. And this dude who looked like the fucking I Like Turtles kid.
Oh my
fucking
fucking god!
Here. I could have swore it was Darby Allin. If you would
Darby Allin?
that was Darby Allin. That it was Darby Allin.
Dollin.
30. What year is this? 30 years ago. Jesus Christ.
Well, he would have been a fetus.
If you would have told me that was Darby Allin, I would have said, okay, I believe you. This dude's climbing the cage better than Hogan and Piper could have, mind you. Scales it, comes down the other side, and is in the vicinity of the wrestlers. I'm not talking about this guy hopping a fucking barricade. He hopped the barricade, thus bypassing whatever grand security Ted Turner mustered. All right.
Oh.
Climbed in the cage.
It was a portly fellow with a goatee is what it was.
Putting to shame these two aging fucking Crumpopuluses that just had a
Crumpopulous! I'm having so much fun tonight!
Then the wrestlers start assaulting him. I'm not talking about and we know this happens sometimes. They didn't pin him down. No, they held him. They started beating the fuck out of him. Like it was an assault and battery. And again, I get it. You give up all of your rights the minute you hop that fucking barricade.
Beast, you gotta fucking stop him dying.
Holy fuck! I was like, this dude's got to go to the hospital. They were getting ready to give him fucking an IV, and I'm like, this dude's gonna be going to the fucking morgue because Hogan's putting the boots to Bischoff with his little fucking fucking Richie Rich penny loafers is fucking just burying him in this dude's fucking face, and then this the security guy, the head of security for WCW, the guy.
Portly goatee fellow.
Yeah, that's the guy. He comes out with his fucking cadre of fucking security folk, and then they start working this fucker over. And all the while, WCW, Tony Schiavone is like, this poor fan, they're drawing attention to it. Let me tell you how WCW or how WWE handles fans getting into the action.
Triple H beats the fuck out of them. That's what happens.
Well, first of all, they don't. But in the once in a yellow moon that it happens, it does happen. But it's way fucking rarer than WCW. I feel like that shit was happening all the time in WCW.
Sure.
When it happens, Triple H fucking kills you.
Yep.
And then you're dead. And then he grabs your spirit, beats the fuck out of your spirit, puts you back in the body, and you get arrested.
And then you're dead.
They're showing Linda McMahon on the screen with the fucking dead eyes. Dead eyes of a woman who knows my husband is diddling all these fucking women, and I can't do a thing about it because I'm a woman, and it's the fucking 90s.
I'm missing where this is going. What's happening right now?
I'm enjoying it. Just shut up. Let it
go. How terrible. WCW. And you're like, oh, that was only one event. No, man.
Oh, so we're just ranting about WCW? Like that's really what we're doing? I'm good with it. I'm good with it if we are. I
need to know the meta.
A good place.
Yeah, I need to know where we're going here.
This was a good stepping off point. Just because,
if we're here to shit on WCW, I'm here for it.
We as wrestling fans keep this fucking 5-year period in some sort of high regard to the point that we're like, man, wrestling was so great back in 1996 to 2001. No, it fucking wasn't.
Oh, now it's the Attitude Era, baby. Let's fucking go.
Well,
Look,
and again,
can I bring some rationality into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I think having aged quite a bit and seeing things as they truly are.
My voice hurts.
Sad as I may be. Well.
Oh, God.
I think it's looked upon as such a grand time, not because of how great the wrestling was, but because of the trends that it set and the cultural impacts that it had.
There you go.
I think that's truly what it is, because the NWO, when that happened, that was a cultural impact.
Yeah, it was.
People
were
wearing
everywhere.
NWO shirts everywhere. People were throwing up the Too Sweet sign everywhere. When
Basketball, football, it was happening everywhere.
When DX happened, crotch chops became the norm in every middle school and high school across the country.
Yep.
Fucking Jay-Z threw up the Diamond Cutter logo. That became Jay-Z's thing.
So I think it was more cultural than it was good wrestling.
Right.
And I think it was more, I think it brought the 90s, the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, people who watched wrestling were aware of wrestling and aware of wrestling characters.
Yes.
I heard of The Undertaker. I heard of The Undertaker, but I didn't know who The Undertaker was. I didn't know what the deal was. I had no idea.
which we have
So like back in the
or clearly was
what?
the Undertaker. But go on. I said which we have Hulk Hogan to clearly, thank for the Undertaker because
I
he
don't know why
discovered
you
him
wouldn't.
on the set of Suburban Commando.
Yeah, okay.
Notwithstanding the fact that he'd been signed to WWE for like 3 years at that point. But anyway, go on.
So like late 80s, early 90s, people who knew about wrestling knew about wrestling. People who were like old school wrestling fans knew about wrestling. When the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars came about, that brought in, I think, wrestling into the mainstream, where wrestling wasn't really mainstream before. It was popular amongst the wrestling crowd, but that was pretty much it. Like, I knew kids in middle school and high school who were doing crotch chops and saying "suck it," but had absolutely no idea what wrestling was, who Degeneration X was, what WWE was. They didn't know. I'm like, oh, you watch wrestling too? I love Degeneration X. They're like, D what now? Who? They didn't know.
D who now what
all
with
they
the who?
All they knew was the crotch chop was fun. Telling people to suck it was fun. You're in high school, you're in middle school. That's hilarious. It's awesome. It's so fun. So, like, people were you remember Trapper Keepers?
Oh,
People
God,
were
yeah.
spray painting NWO on their Trapper Keepers. I knew at least 4 kids who had NWO spray painted on their Trapper Keeper, and I'm like, oh, you're a WCW guy, not a WWE guy. They're like, what? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. But what's this NWO thing? That's the New World Order. Okay. So I truly believe, to sum this up, I truly believe that the Attitude Era, the Monday Night War era, that's not reminisced upon and looked back upon with reverence for the wrestling or the pay-per-views, or maybe not even necessarily the storylines, because some of them are really bad. But I think it's looked back on so fondly because of how big of a cultural impact it had, how it brought wrestling into the mainstream. The gestures were popular beyond wrestling. The catchphrases were popular beyond wrestling. Like Austin 316, you smell what the Rock is cooking. Give me a hell yeah. I got 2 words for you. Like all that stuff, I think, was bigger than the actual wrestling was. If you go back and examine the Attitude Era under the microscope of wrestling, I don't want to, because I remember it more fondly than that. I think that's where you're looking.
And that's the thing, is that, like, this goes back to the idea. You guys remember the there are two movies I'm going to bring up, and I'll make sure to truncate this. The Never-Ending Story and Fern Gully. You guys remember those movies?
Absolutely.
So a couple months ago, I was hanging out with my family. My sister and I were waxing, nostalgic upon the Never-Ending Story, and I was like, oh, well, let's fucking watch it. So my sister and I sat down and watched it, remembering how amazing it was and how big of this epic story it was. And we watched it as adults and went, no, no.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is that we did that, and I had this idea, and Fern Gully was the one for me, because when I was in college, we rewatched it, and people were sitting there so happy, and I sat there watching it going, oh, this is not as good as I remember. Not taken away from, the late, great Robin Williams or anything, but, I was going, oh, God, this isn't as good as I remember. And everyone else was sitting there just joyfully fucking drunk out of their minds, happy they're watching Fern Gully. And I was, more sober, and I went, no. And my sister wanted to watch Fern Gully, and I was like, don't do it. And she goes, why? And I'm like, just leave it where it was. And this is what it is with the Attitude Era. And as much kind of garbage as I've given you, Beef, and I'm more so than I should have, With the Attitude Era, you're absolutely right with what you said in the past. Like, leave it there. Leave it there. Remember it the way it was. Remember it as a snapshot in history. And like Ransom, you're absolutely correct. I think the more important thing that came out of that time was the cultural impact and zeitgeist that was there. Like, it really was. It was a cultural phenomenon. More so than going back and watching it and remembering keystone fucking matches. There weren't a ton of them. There really weren't. And like, you need to just leave that shit in the past. And if anybody is out there and they're championing for the fucking Attitude Era, I am really sorry. And I really hope that it gets better for you. Like, like, leave it alone. Leave it in the past. Remember it fondly and enjoy what we have now. Because what we have now is infinitely fucking better from like across the board, not even just like whatever, because wrestling is becoming that again, but in a good way, because when you watch the product, it's not just bra and panty matches and stupid backstage segments with occasional matches in between. It's good, solid fucking work like workers out there killing it, telling a good story and enjoying what they do. This is a better fucking Attitude Era.
It's a better era, period.
Yes.
That's an awesome. That's an amazingly salient point you make, because I'll tell you what. I went back and I watched the Truman Show here recently.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's still a good movie, but here's the problem with like movies of that era. It's all steak and very little sizzle, which was very much the same of wrestling. Like, they were like jumping from point to point to point. And you remember these movies being like, you know, way more drawn out and way more, you know, complex. And no, like, it really wasn't. They literally went point A, B, C, D, done. Like, and it's not just that. Like, you know, you mentioned Never Ending Story. Like, all these movies that we built up in our childhood, very few of them hold up because they don't have the I don't want to say connection, but like investment. Okay, and that's why I think it's kind of like the point that I'm making here is that I think without investment, things are lost very, very easily. I think with WCW, they had investment with the NWO. People were invested. People wanted to be part of it. People wanted to see who was going to be, you know, next to fall. What was the NWO going to do next? But I'll tell you, like, eventually, every wave crashes.
Yep.
Somebody said that on AEW last night, and I don't remember. But every wave, no matter how big, crashes. And that stuck with me because I'm like, it's a great point. No matter how great of a thing you have, no matter what the shiny bauble you may have is, at some point, it's going to turn. Now, the great ones can bring it back around. The great ones can make it work again. And that's true of anything. In some cases, you know, video games, movies, whatever, like they go through a period where it's like, okay. And then they for whatever reason, they get on fire again. Now, all of that said, I think that WCW just never hit that point. Because they never let it breathe. It was always weird fucking chicanery.
Yeah.
I watched World War III, and it was basically Kevin Nash dominating, I don't know, 80% of the field. And I'm like, okay, well, this is silly, but all right. I mean, and again, at the time, big Kevin Nash fan. Now, he's kind of in like he's kind of in the Bret Hart bubble, where like I wish that I could just remember these guys from then and not them shooting their fucking mouth off all the time here.
Yep.
But notwithstanding, like WCW never gave anything time to breathe. They're like, we got to keep hammering home on this NWO thing or else it's going to go away. Well, in reality, if they would have just taken a fucking break from it for more than fucking 2 fucking months, they may have been able to come back successfully. But it was just like constantly ridiculous, constantly disappointing. And like, and yes, okay, there are jewels, diamonds in the rough. There was Starrcade following that World War III that I watched. Opened with Kidman versus Ray versus Hoovy. And Ray and Hoovy were part of the LWO, and Eddie just wanted an LWO guy to come out with the belt. So Kidman, Ray, and Hoovy had this fucking amazing, like, great triple threat match. Like, the kind of shit that you want to build shit off of. And it goes for like 25, 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kidman wins because Ray was like forcibly a member of the LWO at the time. Eddie comes out all pissed off and he's like, I could beat you, myself. And Kidman's like, why don't you? And, so they basically had another impromptu Cruiserweight title match where Eddie Guerrero faced Billy Kidman for the title. And again, this wasn't some like little 5-minute roll-up match. No. This was like another 15, 20-minute match. And I'm like, Jesus God, fucking Billy Kidman is a workhorse. So like WCW had good stuff. They just didn't capitalize on it in the same way that they should have.
I was just about to say, where's the butt in that comment?
Yeah, and instead they're beating this NWO thing into the ground. Instead, they're beating the Bill Goldberg thing into the ground. Like it was just one thing to another that they were like, nope, we're gonna make this work. And it felt a little bit like the situation we were with the Bloodline. I still think it lasted a year too long. I still think it would have made a lot more sense for Cody to go over last year. But all that said, knowing that we are where we are, okay, WCW never had that payoff. Like at no point did anything really come out of the NWO, like the end of the NWO storyline. At no point did anything really come out of the Bill Goldberg storyline. Like, those are two big, huge things that had like no payoff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just kind of stopped.
They did because WCW didn't know enough to let something die and just end.
It's not even just let it die or end. I think a lot of the problem with WCW is they were really good at building early stories and rolling with it, but not knowing how to close the deal. They just didn't know how to do that. So what happened was things did just kind of like fart out. They petered out. That's what happened in WCW. Never did you really have a, like, I don't want to say never. That's a lot of like conjecture, but like you had a lot of like kind of lame duck situation. Like it was like, it just stopped being a thing because reasons. Or like, it's like, okay, we're going to ignore this. You know what I mean? Like, and that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I think you're nailing it, man. Like they did a great job of setting things up, but unfortunately, like that's not the part that people remember.
Nope.
Imagine if you will.
The
same scenario of the Bloodline. Like, imagine people remembering, like, imagine it being a better setup, and people are like, oh yeah, man, this whole like Roman thing caught fire, and then they couldn't remember who fucking beat Roman Reigns. Like,
Oh God.
how?
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. So like that just is maddening to me. Choices that they made, that WCW made, that just I look at and I go, especially now, and of course, with the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of, again, I can't believe I'm about to say 30 years of hindsight, yeah, of course we're able to go, oh yeah, well, of course, Billy Kidman should have been higher up on the card. Of course, Eddie Guerrero should have been doing more than, the LWO. Of course, this, that, or the other thing. But even outside of, that, I just feel like they missed the boat on so much. And
It sucks. Because there was a lot of
it's tough.
potential there. There was so much potential there.
It's tough to watch. I'll be honest. Like, going back and trying to be like, yeah, let's watch WCW. I'm like,
Oh.
this is a fucking chore.
But
This is
Ransom and I
a
both
fucking
had the same
chore.
reaction, like, oh, sweetie, honey, baby. Sweetie,
please
honey,
don't.
baby, no.
Yeah,
Don't
no.
do it. Don't do it.
And it's like I'm not picking crappy events. Like, I remember Halloween Havoc's being great. I remember World War III's being great. I remember Starcade's being great. And
Yeah.
Don't we all,
And
buddy?
yet.
Don't we all?
Yeah, they're not
And
though.
yet.
It's-
So
And yet.
I feel in a very specific way that I am being very much let down by AEW in the same manner right now.
Hey, you can
dearie me.
wax on that. I gotta race like a piss horse, but this
Okay.
is a conversation I have been waiting to fucking have because I don't
Okay.
feel like it's gonna be. I don't feel like it's gonna be met with like vitriol and like we're just gonna shit all over AEW. It's more of
No.
like waxing upon the idea of like, listen, you're on thin fucking ice right now. You know what I mean? Like,
And
that's kind of how I
I'll-
feel.
I'll preface all of this with saying this. Like, I just said
Do it
that
while I pee.
Dynasty was an incredible fucking card. It was a
Dynasty.
great event. It had amazing matches. Probably one of the best pay-per-views I've seen, with like one of the best matches I've seen in my lifetime. You know, uh, Revolution was great. I enjoyed a lot of the beats of Revolution. I still don't understand why Sting won, but here we are.
Oh, well,
It makes even less sense now that the Young Bucks ended up getting the titles anyway. But
sure.
like, I get it. Send the man out on top. Whatever. And the fact that I read that it wasn't his, it wasn't his call makes me feel better.
Sure. He
All
wanted to
that
do the right
being-
thing.
Right. All of that being said, I just feel like what they're building on right now is not great. So here's why I love AEW. Because it's where the best wrestlers in the world go. They made a point of saying that several times in the last few months. And I couldn't agree more. The best wrestlers in their craft are showing up at AEW. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of the men who started it all off, Kenny Omega. But you have, MJF, who's a fucking prodigy at this point. Adam Cole. And
We're
basically
discussing the
entire Attitude
positives
Era.
right now, I take it.
Well, I'm prefacing this
Well,
with saying that they have the
Know what
best
to say.
wrestlers. and that's true. I believe, Okada, Jay White, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, Claudio, uh, Tony Storm,
Sure.
fucking Jamie Hayter.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it, Mercedes Moné, like all of FTR, the Young Bucks, all of these people I consider to be the top of the heap in their spots in the business. Now, all of that being said, I think that AEW needs to learn to stay in their lane. Because what's happening right now, super boring.
Oh.
If you're a company that's like, we have the best wrestlers on the planet, let them wrestle. and there are ways that you can get people invested in a feud without having these like crazy over the top stories. But like, if you know that you're a wrestling company and you try to put out an over the top story, it's probably not going to be great. And that is where I'm at with this whole elite thing. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I'm okay with the Young Bucks calling themselves the EVPs and coming out in suits and being Matthew and Nicholas because it's something new and fun for them. And you know what? Like, Young Buck heels are not terrible.
It feels forced though.
It does, because they don't wrestle like heels, and that's what it's all going to come down to. And I my cornet is showing. I know, but like I just feel like if like that in a vacuum, I feel like I'd be like, all right, let's see what happened here. But then you start adding all this ancillary stuff with them replacing Kenny Omega with Kazuchika Okada. Like, you say what you will, but like, a lot of motherfuckers love Kazuchika Okada. And he was one of the biggest signings for AEW. And for them to bring him in and immediately make him a heel is a bold move.
Yeah, it is. Especially
since...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say to an audience, even though like I understand, I'm well aware that the AEW crowd knows, like for the most part, knows who Kazuchika Okada is, but the TV viewer who just watches because they're like, that's it's not WWE, it's something else. They might not know who he is.
Not a clue.
And because of that, they're going to go, oh, this guy, yeah, he's a heel and he's from Japan, whatever the fuck.
Nailed it.
Yeah. You and you're reading my brain, Pootsky.
Yep. I'm on par tonight, man.
You are, man. You're up in there, Poot. So I think that AEW is happy where they're at.
That's a problem.
Which is great, Exactly. You can list your accolades all the live long day. But, like, you also have to face facts that you're losing your audience. It's not all happening at once, but, like, it's petering off little by little. Remember when they used to be getting, like, over 1 million eyes on the set every week?
Every week, yep.
Now it's down around the 750 to 800 mark. So, like, they need to focus on growth. And you're 100% right. Bringing in a dude that, yeah, most of your current audience is probably familiar with as a heel, okay, but like, you also had the chance to make this guy and they've done a decent job of making him feel like a big deal. But then, like, oh no, he's a bad guy, so like it immediately ends that investment. And I think that they're doing the same thing with Mercedes. And I'll tell you this, before I even get started on this, you guys know my thoughts on Mercedes Moné. I hate this angle.
Yeah, we
What do we
do.
do?
I hate the fact that she's going to come in and probably beat Willow for this title. I think that Willow deserves it. I don't think Mercedes does, because Mercedes has wrestled 0 matches for AEW. Willow has been busting her ass the last 2 years.
I saw a meme that said like Mercedes Moné cut a promo saying this is where the best wrestle, and someone put below it, they were like, "Oh, well, is that why you haven't had a match yet?"
Wow.
And I went, "Oh, Beef will hate this." I was gonna share it, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, I don't want to catch his ire.
And again, like, catch my ire. I do view her as one of the best wrestlers of the women's in the women's division.
That's okay.
Can she be sloppy at times? Absolutely, absolutely. But I
So
think
can everyone.
Again, but you know, all that withstanding, all like the good Willow stuff that I'm a big fan of her for. They're taking somebody who should be a slam dunk, like that will get people out of their seat and cheering, and they're running a heel angle with her. I hate to break it to you, but Mercedes beating Willow is not going to endear her to anybody. So there you have another huge signing. They're paying $10 million a year for her.
Which is, I'm sorry. I know you love her. I know you fucking love her, Beef. She is not worth that kind of fucking scratch.
No.
I don't think anybody is. I don't think any pro wrestler is.
Oh, that's
Maybe.
arguable. That's arguable.
Okay. You could tell me that maybe Cody, maybe Roman, maybe Seth, maybe MJF, maybe Kenny. But like, I wouldn't go much beyond that, because $10 million a year is a lot of fucking scratch to be paying somebody.
You pretty much hit all that on the head.
Or Joe Hendry, you know. I'm
his
sitting here
name,
wondering,
and he appears.
I believe in Joe Hendry, but I'm wondering if Joe Hendry believes in me. Anyway, my point here is that, like, you're taking this big asset that you're pumping all this money into, and by the way, you better believe they're probably paying a ton of money for Kazuchika Okada as well.
Oh my God.
And potentially making them into heels. Both of them. I am bereft at this decision making. The only thing I can think of is that Tony's like, our audience knows these people. We don't need to push them as faces and make them big deals. Our audience will respect them. Okay, but like, you're part of an organization that has exemplified growth in the National Football League. You know, he's a vice president of some sort for the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they started hot, as all teams do, and then TNA put a mask on Jordan Gresham, and I'm so confused. Anyway,
Focus.
Thank you. So like, you need to grow, and like his father did that with the Jaguars. He made them into a sustainable team with influx of youth and really great players. I don't understand how Tony Khan doesn't take those same principles and apply it to what he's doing right now, because right now he has this chance for growth, right? You know, people are going to see Okada and be like, oh man, this guy's awesome. I want to get invested in. Oh, he's a bad guy? Well, that's dumb. Like, imagine Bret Hart in 1992. If all of a sudden, before his big world title push, they're like, you know what, Bret, we want to go. We want to make you a heel. Like, what would that accomplish? But like, taking him away from the fan base, like just silly things.
Silly.
And I don't get the whole elite angle. I don't like it. I think it's over the top and dumb. And to be honest with you, I think it's a retread of Bullet Club, which at its base was a retread of the NWO.
Oh,
Oh boy.
I love the Bullet Club. I do. And I think, I'll say this again, I think the Bullet Club did the NWO thing better than the NWO did. Just at a much smaller scale.
It was. I think the reason that might, the perception might be there for that is because it was people that were young and hungry and not necessarily. I mean, they were well known by the internet wrestling community and people, but they weren't like crazy well known. And it built these people into absolute fucking insane rock stars.
And they've managed to like sustain it to the point where they're still like there's Bullet Club in Japan, there's Bullet Club in AEW, there's Bullet Club in TNA, like there's Bullet Club in WWE, like that footprint is still there. So ish, yeah. I mean, next time somebody throws up a too sweet, we'll see what ish is. My point remains is this. I'm off in the weeds on a hot take. I don't see what that this angle is innovative at all. They're mixing NWO with Steve Austin and hoping that somewhere in the mixture they'll find their big money maker.
Do you think maybe this is one of those situations where you can just go Simpsons did it?
What do you mean?
Like in the sense that like you're equating it to all this other stuff. It's this mixed with this and mixed with this. Dude, eventually like you can equate something to something else. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. So like you kind of have to like, you either have to lean on that and just be like, okay, this is just a retread of this, or you have to like go, okay, what is this going to be? And this is, yeah, okay, it's like that, but it could be something different. Let's give them a minute to see what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to do the Simpsons did it thing.
That's fair. No. I get it. And I'm intrigued by this Jonathan Gresham, this retread. And I mean, absolutely. Like, to me, I just don't see the money in the angle.
And that's fine. Like, I mean,
I don't think I'm alone.
No, you're not.
I feel like this angle is not great, and I just don't know where or what the payoff's going to be, and more importantly, with the Mercedes thing, I know what they expect the payoff to be, and I don't think it's going to be what it's going to be.
No, well, no, and
unless they actually have balls to let Willow beat Mercedes, which I think would be fucking incredible.
Yeah, but then what do you do with Mercedes? Can she take that loss out of the gate and still be legitimate?
Why not?
I mean, she'll have 6 months to recuperate after the injury, so.
This fucking guy.
And, to Ransel's point, like, that's the knock on her. Like, no one's, I don't think, ever said that she's a bad wrestler. I think she's an incredible wrestler with incredible charisma, but she just can't stay healthy because that's, it's fucking Will Ospreay syndrome. Like, when you're that good and you do all these crazy fucking things, eventually that shit's gonna catch up with you.
Yeah, man. You remember that time we thought Will Ospreay was gonna be dead?
Yeah, man. Which time?
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen him dropped on his neck 87 times, and every time I'm like, well, that's it. Well, Ospreay's just for show now.
Yep. Yep.
But, like, my point remains, and here's the thing. Double or Nothing is, like, one of their crown jewels. No pun intended. Like, this is something... The Double or Nothing is, like, where they keep saying where it all started. That was AEW's first pay-per-view was Double or Nothing. So yeah, like absolutely, like this should be one of the big ones. And like coming off the heels of Dynasty, which was fucking incredible.
You mispronounced it.
Sorry, Dynasty.
Thank you.
Dynasty.
Dynasty.
Coming off the heels of what, in my mind, was one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen. This is incredible to me that they are blowing what should be like a slam dunk. Like, okay, we're getting Ospreay versus Roddy Strong, which is going to be awesome. There's no way to slice that. And Anarchy in the Arena might be fun. Okay, whatever. I think it's a terrible misuse of 8 guys, but that's just on me. I just feel like this event right now has nothing for me. I look at Double or Nothing and I'm like, they're expecting people to go, oh, well, people are going to want it to watch, Mercedes debut. Are they though? Because you're basically going to make her a heel out of the gate. Like, oh, people are going to, get it because we have Kazuchika Okada on the card. Are they though? Because you're making him a bad guy. Like, they're going to want to see Swerve versus Christian. Are they? Are they? Like, I'm glad that Christian's getting this run and all, but like, is he really the best choice for Swerve's first fucking defense? There's just so much that about Double or Nothing that I look at and I go, eh.
Okay, I've had enough.
Go ahead.
Everybody, right now, you two jabronis included, cue up your shocked face because Ransom's about to be a dickhead. Oh no, that's something new. But first of all, this really shouldn't come as a surprise to you. I'm giving you a little bit of the finger wag right here. Like, it really shouldn't. Our chief complaint, I believe, over the past recent history about AEW has been their lack of storytelling, their lack of compelling storylines to draw people in. It's just, hey, it's this guy versus this guy. Okay, well, why? I don't fucking know, because I took my head out of the Coke bin and was like, hey, let's make this a match. Like, that's been our chief complaint about AEW. It's not the matches. Like, AEW has that nailed. AEW has a problem. AEW has a writer's problem. It's not a lack of talent, and it's not a lack of in-ring work. Like Beef always says, their in-ring matches are phenomenal. That's where the best wrestlers go to wrestle because they have the best wrestlers doing the best wrestling. John Madden. Like,
John Madden.
It's a writing problem. It's a storytelling problem. Tony Khan is not a writer. The Young Bucks, sorry, they're not writers. Like, these wrestlers aren't writers. They're great at wrestling. Yes. Tony Khan is great at having money. Yes. None of them are writers. None of them are good at sitting down and writing a story. If you had to tell any of them, write me a short story that sucks me in, gets me interested, and makes me want to have a sequel, none of them can do it. failblog.com.gov./
But that's
that's what it is. That's the problem.
That's
motherfucker.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
God damn. Take a cruise. We, for the length of time that I've known Beef, he's said it before. This pay-per-view, I don't know what it. It doesn't knock my socks off. Like, this card doesn't wow me. But then when you watch it, at the end of it, you go, okay, well, that was money well spent. Because AEW's strength is in the ring, not in their storytelling. Like, they are wrestling. And as much as anybody wants to say it these days, WWE is still sports entertainment. I know that's a naughty word, and that's on, the no-no boo-boo list. But it really is, because WWE is sports with the wrestling, and it's entertainment because they have engaging, detailed storylines that make sense. AEW is just wrestling. It's just people getting in the ring, smashing about, flipping about, smacking about, pinning about, submitting about. That's it. That's what they are. AEW, at the end of the day, is wrestling. They're not sports entertainment. They're not wrestling entertainment. They don't have that. They need it desperately, but they don't have it. That's AEW's chief problem. It's all wrestling. It's no storytelling. They've got to get staff. That has to be something that Tony Khan focuses on. He has to hire there. You can't just build up your wrestling talent and focus on that. You can't just focus on, like, we've got to bring in new wrestling talent. We've got to get these hot new people in here. Mercedes Moné, $85 bazillion. Because it's not me making fun of him. I can't say it. I'm tongue-tied and I'm freaking out. That guy, all the money ever. Yeah, great. That's great. But set some of this money aside to bring on a writing staff who can write for you engaging stories that hook people from the start, keep them interested and engaged throughout, and at the end, at the blow-off, go, dang, I need more of that. Like, boy, I wish they had another run. I hope this isn't the last one. I hope this feud continues. AEW hasn't had any of that. We've said it with WWE before. Man, this feud can keep going because I'm here for it. It's storyline plus wrestling. That's what WWE has. That's why they're the total package. That's why they're the global leader, and AEW is not. Because AEW has wrestling and has no story. Sorry for the yelling and freaking outy pooty. Please go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. That was worth the telling me to shut my pie hole. Like, no, he's right. Like, I mean, we're almost, I would say, at the inverse of when AEW came around. When AEW came around, we were thrilled. Killer wrestling, good stories. They were succinct. They were tight. They were there. They were being interesting. They were being different. It now just feels messy. It feels messy. It feels disjointed. And, maybe that is, contributing to the fact that you're giving the key, you're letting the inmates run the asylum. Maybe that could be it. Maybe too much creative control to the people who want to get their own selves over is part of the problem. Like, not saying the entire problem. I'm not sitting here and blaming it entirely on that. What I'm saying is, maybe it's a factor. Maybe it's something that is to be looked at as an idea that it's like, allow them to have input but work with other people instead of just going, here, you tell me what you want, guy who wants to earn more money. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of that vibe. Like, you have to be willing to, like, bend and give and work and realize that, like, maybe you becoming champion or going over all the time or being in a crazy spot fest all the time is not necessarily the best thing in the world. And don't take me wrong. Don't get me wrong. One thing that I think we can agree that AEW does better than damn near every promotion is their fucking live events. Their live events are knockdown, drag out, fun, worth the money you pay for it. You're always going to get a good AEW live event. There have been, some that are not as stellar as others, but even those ones you go, hell yeah, that was great. Like, that is one thing they do. And you could argue that is them doing a good job building to that. But the thing is, I don't know about you guys. I'm not looking and going, what's the payoff to this story? I'm going, ooh, Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. People have been wanting that forever. That's something that's been anticipated forever. That's something you just have in your back fucking pocket. Mm-hmm. Like, why not spend a little bit of time and build that drama and build that effort and build that drama up to that, go across like one or two live events and then the third one be like, oh, it's happening, that kind of thing.
The only thing I'll say is this regarding that. Like, I think they did that with the whole Adam Cole MJF thing.
Well,
and it blew up in their face.
Well, no, and
Like,
it blew up in their.
I think that they had masterful booking. I think that they were doing everything the right way, and it just went haywire. And I think that was unfortunate because I think that was a really intriguing story that then ended up going on about 3 months too long.
It went too long, and it got a little too into the weeds.
Now it's like cold as ice.
Yep.
And again, this, like, I think it went haywire because Adam Cole got injured.
Yes, absolutely.
And when Adam Cole got injured, this harkens back to everything I just said. Adam Cole got injured, and there's nobody that can call an audible.
Right, that's fair. Yep.
There's nobody that can go, okay, this was our original plan. It's obviously not going to happen. What can we do from here? it happened well, not exactly. There was no injury, but it happened that way with WWE. The Rock came back. Cody gave him his spot. People were like, nope, stupid, don't want it. It blew up in their face, and they went, uh-oh, we got to
fix this. Yep.
They call, and because they have a writing staff and creative people who understand storytelling, they were able to call that audible and turn it into something that was super interesting and grabbed people's attention. AEW couldn't do that.
I want to take a quick divergence. Speaking of that, did you guys read? And this is per Pappy Dave, so take that with a grain of salt.
Oh boy!
Did you guys read what the initial story with that was?
What?
Like what was supposed to happen?
What?
No, I didn't read that.
The Rock was supposed to beat Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania, go back to Hollywood, thus relinquishing the title. Hence that stupid People's Champion belt, where he was going to reference himself the entire year as the true People's Champion, only to have like somebody fucking else win the belt and then face him at WrestleMania the next year, probably Cody, in some like tournament. So The Rock is gonna take this big fucking 3-year-long build for himself as an ego stroke, and then just toss it aside into the fucking toy box.
Ew.
That would have been the worst possible scenario.
That would have been disastrous. It would have been disastrous.
A
death knell, even
pulled away from it. Oh yeah. I don't know a death knell, but like it would have been bad. So like I'm glad that they pulled up, and then like to Rance's point, that they did call an audible, and that they were able to get it into something that was historic.
Well,
that's important, and Ransom fucking nailed it. Let me paint you another picture here. Monday night started the King of the Ring, the qualifying matches. I don't know if they're gonna have. I don't know what matches are going to happen at the actual King of the Ring event, but I'm excited for it because there are some, like, this isn't fucking like Xavier Woods or fucking Baron Corbin or even fucking Sheamus winning King of the Ring. There are some big fucking names in this year's King of the Ring, like to the point where like it feels like the old school King of the Rings, where like the dude who wins is probably going to be in line for a title shot within the next year. So, like, they put on some killer fucking matches on Monday night. Ricochet versus Ilya Dragunov. Fucking Gunther versus Sheamus in the main event. Like, matches that were incredible, that had no build, but yet are building to something else.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably going to see Dragunov versus Gunther. Either that's probably going to be the finals of the Raw side of the tournament, which is probably going to happen at King of the Ring, which is fucking incredible, and it's going to be an awesome match. And again, there's no build for it, but it's going to be incredible. And again, building to something.
Sure.
That I think is where AEW is missing the mark. I don't think that every single amazing 10-star match needs to have a fucking 5-month build. But I think it should be heading in that direction. Let me give you a for instance. You know who would have been a way better opponent for Swerve on his first title defense
Who's that?
than Christian? Keith Lee. Keith Lee. Yeah,
All right.
Keith Lee come back as kind of a heel, and they fucking opened that rivalry that we never got a fucking finish to. They opened that back up. All of a sudden, those Swerve's the good guy. Keith Lee's like, hey, you guys all turned on me. Like I said, man, I'm happy for Christian. Absolutely, he's reinvented himself, and he's doing amazing work. But does that mean that he should be getting the title match against one of your hottest champions? No, absolutely. I think even with the win, this is kind of killing Swerve's momentum. And I don't like
WCW.
It's very WCW.
It's very WCW.
Worse yet, it's very TNA of 03, 04.
Oh, and I hate to poo on Christian because he is doing good stuff.
He
is. And Jericho, he's got to be on Mount Rushmore. And Edge, I've always been a big Edgy Poo fan, but oh no, AEW, oh no, Swerve's first opponent for the AEW title is Christian? What? This dude's he's not a young, spry fella. And as much as I hate to say it, Edge running roughshod with the TNT championship, okay, it's not your big title. It's mid-card belt, but at the same time, hey man, where are the young lads who are going to be your next big stars? Where in the belt here? Edge? And Chris Jericho gets so much focus in AEW, and I get it. He was there at the beginning, and he helped you build, and he helped you get recognition because people fucking know Chris Jericho. They know that name, so that helped to build your brand. I get it. You have some loyalty there that you feel like you need to repay, but at the same time, oof. All I see here are Hogan running wild with the belt. The main event mafia, holding court in TNA, all these old heads. Hey, look, here's Scott Hall and Sean Waltman again in TNA. Oh, no, stop it. You've got so many bright, young, talented people to feature and to give opportunities to. And you can call them what's the derogatory term for the WWE fans? Stans, Kyles, which one?
Stans.
So you could call it it's WWE Stans poking fun at AEW for they're saying that AEW is just picking up all the old WWE guys, but okay. But at the same time, they, as much as it might be painful to admit, they got a little bit of a point. It doesn't hurt to bring in some of these, WWE guys that want to have a little bit of fun in the twilight of their career. But when they're kind of becoming the focus, like Hogan did and Savage did in WCW, and then Nash did and Hall did, and again Hogan did in TNA, the WWE stands are making a little bit of a point here, as much as you might not really want to admit or give them any credence. There's a point.
And the most frustrating thing is because we know the capabilities that they have.
Mm-hmm.
We know what they can do.
Yep.
For example, so it's a double-edged sword, because like, yeah, I agree. I don't think that Adam Copeland needs the TNT title, but I like the Cope Open. I like that it gives us dream matches. You know, we're getting Cope versus Kyle O'Reilly on Collision, which is neat. But like, do we need
But
to be
it's
giving that
neat.
away on free TV?
You said it's neat.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's neat. It's
But like, do
not
we need to be giving that
knockdown
away on
drag
free
out.
TV? Like he had a great match with Brody King last night. Amazing match. Again, do we need to be giving it away on free TV? Like I think, and Tony, and this all goes back to the point that we've been making the last, I think, 3 years with AEW. That Tony Khan needs to grow a pair
Yep.
and be a boss, not a friend.
Yep.
Even though Adam Copeland's like, nah, man, I can go out and wrestle every week. You, Tony Khan, need to be like, bro, you could be our Brock Lesnar. When we trot you out every 4 to 6 weeks against somebody, and people will pay through the nose to see it. Because you're Adam fucking Copeland. You know? Or when fucking Mercedes is like, hey man, I want to come in and work. Oh great, yeah, we'd love to have you. Well, let's debut me in Boston. Okay, awesome. Let's have my first match 4 months later. No. Like, how about we just debut you closer to when you're healthy? There are so many things that could be solved by Tony Khan just manning up. And like now that he's like
he's a
part,
smark though, man. Like that's the problem.
he is. He absolutely is. And now he's part of this. As much as he didn't want to be, as much as he talked about not wanting to be a part of it, here we are. Where he was a centralized figure, is a centralized figure in this whole elite thing.
Yep.
Now you got the Young Bucks running shit from fucking Gorilla. Okay, like, I get it. Haha, like, my goodness, WWE is doing some fun stuff with, like, production right now. And AEW is copying that, more or less. Like, hey, can I copy this? Yeah, just change it up a little bit so it doesn't look the same. Like, AEW is doing the exact same thing. Like, showing the Young Bucks in production. Like, you know, showing them in Gorilla, running things. Like, okay, like, I get it. But, like, this is all stuff that is not interesting to the casual fan, if I'm being honest. Like, this is stuff that makes the smart marks go, ha ha, that's cool. But, like, to the casual fan, it's of no general interest. The WWE can drop this in here and there because they know that that's not like their goal. They still have mass appeal, but they throw in these little things for wrestling fans to go, oh man, that's really cool. You know, just like throwing in, oh, you know, hey man, a fucking amazing match between AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes for no reason other than to say, look at these two wrestle. Like, and they did an amazing job of it. So yes, you can absolutely have a match with zero build for no reason, but you can't base your meta off of that. You can't go, this is how we're going to make money. WWE can do that right now because they don't need to grow. And I know you always need to be growing. If you're not growing, you're dying. I understand that. But like for the most part, they're like, we're on top. Like, and like that, I guess the attitude of like not needing to grow is not the case. But like, because they are changing things up, absolutely. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, what do they need? Like, do they need to do anything different? They don't. So they're kind of experimenting. They're kind of throwing shit at the wall and being like, okay, let's see what works. Which again is amazing and is working out well. Sometimes it may not work out so well. There may be things in the Triple H era that we're gonna look at and we're gonna go, okay. Like that was they They tried, they failed, they moved on.
Well, and that's an
But, like-
inevitability, I think, with anything.
Right. Absolutely. But AEW, I don't think, has that leisure. They can't put their feet up and go, no, we got this. We can afford to experiment. I watch a lot of Bar Rescue in the mornings, and I know this is a complete, like, you guys are like, what? I watch a lot of Bar Rescue in the mornings, and John Taffer has said some controversial things over the last few years, but I think that he understands how to do business clearly. And he talks about, being, in a bar and like being the bar, like being in a business because you want to be there to make money, or being in the business because you love it. And
I love you.
unfortunately,
Okay, rude.
I just don't think that Tony Khan understands that. And as long as Shad is willing to keep funding this, as long as Tony Khan has money to keep funding AEW for what it is, I don't think they're ever going to learn a lesson, because it's really tough to learn something when you don't have anything to lose. WCW, the NWO, like, that was something that was needed, because even though it was funded by Ted Turner was also like, I don't know how serious I am about this whole wrestling thing. Like, he was also kind of like on the outs with it. So, like, they were probably a solid, year, maybe 2, maybe 3 away from getting, just a disembowel. And yet they gave WWE the fight of their life. So, like, I just feel like when you don't have any stakes, it's tough to learn anything. And that's the problem with Tony, is as long as he's got money, as long as AEW doesn't need to make money, why should they be successful?
Man, that's a slippery slope, because you could argue that they're at the end of the day, they're businessmen. So they want to make money, they want to net a profit. The thing is, I think they're netting enough of a profit that it's not a concern. The second that it starts being a problem from a like monetary and fiduciary standpoint, that's whenever things are going to get icky. And I think that's when we're really going to see the foundation crack.
I mean,
Maybe.
they need a little bit of that. Like maybe they need a little bit of that to light a fire up under them. You remember what AEW was the first couple years? Like, the first year, 2019, and then even like into like the first year of COVID, like, how fire it was. Like, everybody there was hungry to succeed. Everybody there wanted to be part of, like, I think that happened 3 years too early. I think that had that happened within the last year and a half, I think it'd be a different story altogether right now. But, like, because wrestling is cool again. But I think that they shot their shot too early, and now they're kind of like in this weird limbo thing. And again, I'm not like, oh, AEW is going. No, I don't think they're going anywhere. The only way that I think that AEW would really be in any kind of danger for, like, closing or going out of business is if they lose the network support. If what happened to TNA happens to them. And even TNA's fucking surviving. They're fucking thriving, honestly. I think that TNA's putting out some fucking quality shit. And nobody's talking enough about what TNA's doing right now, but I think you will be in the next 2-3 years. I think you will be. But, like, if they get screwed over by the network, then I think that, shit'll change them. But until then, as long as everyone's like, oh yeah, no, like 750,000 is fine for us. Like, okay, but like,
That's
what are
I think
you striving for?
that you said something that I think is the epitome of nailed it. When they first came about, they had a lot of young, hungry talent. They had some talent that was, in their minds, besmirched by WWE. And I think they had something to prove. I think a lot of them had different things to prove, but they all had something to prove. Not everybody was wanting to stick it to WWE. Some people just wanted to show, hey, like the indie scene, like we're guys that coming from the indie scene. It's not backyard wrestling. Like we're legit. Like I think everybody had something to prove. And they had that hunger and that fire and that will to prove what they had. And I think over time, that has slowly started to fizzle out. I think as AEW went along, they kind of got comfortable, not competition-wise. I think they got comfortable in their own roles. They got comfortable in their own company. And, like I think a lot of them are like, hey, I'm having a good time here. I'm getting a nice paycheck. No one's giving me shit. No one's pooping on any interns. Like there's not, a psychopath, freaking pompadour walking through the hallways. Like there's no tyrants. It's nice. It's nice. And I think they all, not all, but I think like where there was hunger and a willingness to prove something before, I think now there is more complacency. Not because they don't care, but I think because they're comfortable. And it's not a bad thing to like what you're doing. It's not a bad thing to like who you work for or to be comfortable where you work. That's not bad. But in an industry that thrives on competition, and in more ways than one, wrestling is an industry that thrives on competition. Competition amongst wrestlers in your own company, competition between companies. Wrestling is best for, I truly believe, everybody when there is thriving competition. It doesn't have to be malicious. It doesn't have to be mean. People shouldn't be looking to take other wrestlers out and put them on an injury list so that they can propel themselves. You don't need companies wanting to put other companies out of business, but there needs to be a healthy and thriving competitiveness everywhere in wrestling, because that's when fans win. Because when there is all of that competition amongst the wrestlers in a company and between companies, that's when you get the best product. And I think AEW is getting a little stagnant because they're getting too comfortable. I think where maybe in the beginning some of them wanted to stick it to WWE, like, you know what? We're going to show them like they're not the only kid on the block. Yeah. But then over time they're like, well, we're not going to buy out WWE. Like it's not good. We're not I think we're just happy here. I mean, I think that's kind of like what it was. Like there was a fire in everyone's belly, and then there was okay, like I'm having fun doing wrestling in AEW. I'm having fun with the Tony Conster. Like it's fun. It's nice. I think they need the fire again. They need the need to prove themselves. Like they're a little too comfortable, and I think they need to get a little uncomfortable because. I've been prattling on, but you know what? I don't care. My time to prattle. Like just like with your own body, you have to get a little uncomfortable to get better.
Yep.
Like, that's what fitness is. Like, you start working out, you start weights, you start cardio. I experienced this. Oh my God, everything hurts. Oh my God, I'm so tired. Oh my God, I just want to sit down and eat an entire bag of Oreos. Yeah, man, like improvement oftentimes comes with being a little uncomfortable. And being a little uncomfortable, while at the moment might not be really what you want. Like, yeah, I'd love to sit down under a blanket and watch a movie and have a cake. Not a piece of cake. I'd like to have an entire cake. You can judge me. I don't care. I would eat an entire cake if someone didn't stop me. Because sweets are me, kryptonite, unga bunga. I would eat it. But you have to get a little uncomfortable to get better. And I think AEW needs that. They need to get a little uncomfortable in order to get a little bit better. And if that means being less, I guess, just happy with what you're doing, something needs to happen. Something needs to happen there. Fading off. It's time for rum. Suck it.
No,
Great.
That's
It was time for Ron. It's
Yeah,
also time for Poot the Piss number 2.
gross.
Gross.
I feel like, again, the tools are there, and I think Ransom hit it on the head that, without writers, like not smart writers, but writers, like they have the right people helping with production now. They have the right people that are helping training now. Like they're making the right steps. But they need to continue moving in the right direction because I think that they're fat and happy. Which is great and all. And I want to see succeeding wrestling companies. But yeah, I mean they definitely are hitting that like TNA 05, 06, 07 where like okay, we're starting to fill up with some old heads here. Like where are the young guys? And again, like I get it. Like Osprey, is going to be a guy that you hitch your wagon to and you say, "Okay, he's one of our dudes." MJF is another guy that you're going to say, "This is a guy." Jack Perry, he hopefully will get some help here. Darby, if he ever stops being fucking crazy.
Wow.
They don't have a shortage of youth.
Gone wild.
The Guns, Colton and Austin, the Acclaimed. These are all young guys that are like learning as they're going. But the problem is now that like for the longest time WWE was like the no-fly zone. People knew that if you weren't, 6'6", 257 pounds, and with the charisma of the fucking Rock, that you weren't going to be anything there. But that's not the case anymore. Now, Triple H is giving shots to these people who are taking it and run with it, man. And they're doing some amazing work over there, over on Raw and SmackDown. Even in NXT again, like it's back to being fun to watch. And like that's bad news because eventually at one point it was WWE being the sinking ship that the rats were fleeing. I won't call AEW a sinking ship with rats fleeing. But I mean like the same sentiment is there. Like what happened with Ethan Page? Like, where's Ricky Starks? Like,
Oh, fuck.
they're
Wow, I'm sorry. You just, like, legit blew my mind. Where the fuck is Ricky Starks?
probably on his way to a new job.
South of France, baby.
How did they fucking drop the ball on him? No offense to Ethan Page. I like all day Ethan Page. But fuck. How did they drop the ball on Ricky Starks? He was white hot.
Well, you know.
You know what they say.
You know what they say. He was part of that Punk feud, man, that I think was gonna really do well. And then they let one of the biggest fucking superstars in the world just fucking, scare his way into quitting. So, like, and again, to Ransom's point, like, if there had been writers and they could have punched it up on the fly, they may have figured something else out. But instead, we were left with, well, guess this is happening.
Okay, bye.
So, like,
Thanks,
yeah,
everybody. Bye.
I feel like now Jade Cargill's another one.
Whoops.
Like how the fuck did they let her get away?
Let her go.
We're gonna be saying that, I think, a lot more. The more, because like initially we're like, oh man, like Danielson, Adam Cole, holy fuck, AEW's really like running WWE gonna running them out of the fucking locker room here. Now it's gonna start flowing the other way, where like we're gonna start getting some of that youth that got experience. Hook is another one that's reportedly somebody that WWE is looking at. That these people who are getting
they'll misuse
big
him.
airtime. I don't think so, man. I don't.
No, probably not with H. Probably not with H.
But these young guys and gals who are getting this fucking time to kind of learn the job.
Schnook.
The WWE is just gonna scoop them up and be like, here's like $3 million a year. We want to put you on monthly pay-per-views. You're gonna sit for like, I don't know, 6 months down in AEW or down in NXT, and get acclimated. But then we're gonna fucking bring you on running. And here's the other thing. WWE is also like developing young talent at the Performance Center. So like that's still happening. So like this is a dangerous time for AEW to be complacent. And
they can't afford it. I don't think they can.
I would tend to agree. I think that this is not a good time for them to kind of just be like, well, we have the greatest wrestlers in the world. What's next? Yawn. Like, okay, put on all the dream matches in the world, but what are they going to get you?
And here's, I think, another thing. Like, there are lots of pieces falling into place that I don't think AEW maybe anticipated. One of the biggest is Vince McMahon's fall from grace. Like, I would hedge a bet that every single person, wrestler, Tony Khan, old WWE people, everybody in AEW expected Vince to die in Gorilla. And then something would change. I think the ouster of Vince McMahon and the ushering in of the Triple H era, that's a, and I'll say it, that's a bad thing for AEW. Because I think a lot of young talent now in AEW that are sitting back going, okay, well, I could be in an AEW title match, but it's Christian. I could be TNT champion, but it's Adam Copeland. I could be featured in these high-profile matches, but it's Jericho. I could be, continuing on with my run as champion, but they're going to bring in a person that, essentially made famous in WWE, like Mercedes Moné, who's going to have her first match and more than likely take the title off of somebody who's been there busting hump working for it. And I think a lot of these young people are going to see like, oh, the devil is gone from the neighbor's yard. The blight has passed, and now the grass really is starting to look greener. Not just starting to look greener, it's actually greener though. Like, look over there. Like, look at what they're doing. Like, Jade went, and it's probably going to work out in her favor. She's not making Mercedes Moné money, but I bet she's getting a lot more exposure on television than Mercedes Moné is. I bet she's thriving over there. You know, I'm not digging at Mercedes Moné here, just using that as an example. And I think it's going to, I think WWE under the tutelage of Triple H and Shawn Michaels, you know, both on main roster and NXT and Performance Center, I think that's going to start to look a lot more attractive to the young guys and gals in AEW who are going, well, wait, I'm busting my hump here. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be better. And old WWE guys are getting pushes, you know, like I'm busting my ass here, making a name for myself and, you know, trying to like work real hard. They bring in somebody new and fancy that, you know, made famous in WWE, and there goes my title, and I get pushed to the back because now they want to feature this person. I think it's a worrisome time for AEW. Like, I don't think they can afford to neglect their young, hot up and comers. I think like Hook is a prime example. Like, I don't think now's the time to neglect someone like him, because I'm willing to bet he could go to WWE and Shawn Michaels can do something real good with him in NXT, and then Triple H would do something real good with him on the main roster. Like, he's a young, fit, charismatic dude who I think would really resonate with people. Like, I think they can get him to resonate with people, and I think he would be very impressive. And I think it's a dangerous time for AEW to be kind of like sitting back and, yeah, take your, you know, like, you've got a long career ahead of you. Take your time, kid. Cool your heels, you know, like, you'll get there. I think it's a bad move.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
I'm assuming we're doing just one show. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yes, we're an hour and 41 minutes and 30 seconds in.
Okay.
Yeah,
So look, we've talked a lot about AEW. Can I talk about something different?
Absolutely.
Something different.
Okay. I don't want to dive into it. I wanted to get your buy-in. If you had anything more to say on AEW, I didn't want to steer the ship in a different direction.
Nah, man. We good. We Gooch.
So, can we have more WWE events in France, please? Like,
just international in general, man.
Yeah, but France. I have never seen a crowd that hot ever. I haven't. WrestleMania has had some banger crowds. The night after WrestleMania, banger crowds. But this place, holy balls. Like, they were in it 100% from start to fucking finish. They were jumping up and down at one point so much, the crowd in unison, that it was shaking the hard camera. Oh, come on. I've never seen that happen. I've never seen that happen.
The only thing I can equate it to is last year's Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Which was in the UK. And I think that, again, I think Australia was super fucking hot this year as well.
Sure.
No pun intended. Like, I think that WWE needs to stand for World Wrestling Entertainment again. Like, it needs to be in the world. Like, I think that's...
They are into it. Like, okay, yeah, Saudi Arabia brings you a lot of money, but they can take a hard farm off on the back of a camel. Send me back to the UK. Send me back to France. Send me back to Australia. Those crowds are just rambunctious.
Well,
and they're not rambunctious in a bad way. They're not rambunctious as in we're going to poop on this match by chanting for JBL or Michael Cole or the Beach Ball because we're grumpy.
They're only making it about themselves.
Yeah, they're not hijacking it. They are in it. Like, they are involved. They are invested, man. I don't think I've ever seen crowds that invested in the product, in the wrestlers, in the stories than I have in these international crowds. This France crowd was ridiculous. It was so much fun just to watch the crowd engage, singing the different songs, singing for Bayley. Like, and I think you could see it on the wrestlers' faces. You could see like, oh wow, this is wild, and this is a lot of fun. Like, I think
special. It's something
special. Yes, it was, and it was special for the crowd, and I think the crowd made it special for the wrestlers. Like having a reaction and a crowd be that engaged in a positive way. It had such an impact on the wrestlers. It was special for everyone involved. Take me back.
Well, and I think that's because France, they've gotten live events. They've gotten those kind of things before, but and I'm sure that Beef can correct me on this. When was the last time France got a pay-per-view?
I don't think they've had one.
Or a featured live event or whatever the fuck. Exactly. And Triple H made the statement about like WrestleMania being international. And he was like, well, we'll see. We go to these places. If they show up and they show out and they put on a good fuss or whatever the fuck. Dude.
I would love to see an international Mania.
They took the fucking... They took notes on that shit. They went hard. Like... And that's an understatement. Like fucking, like Ransom said, shaking the fucking hard cam. Wow. Like, yeah. And the cool thing is too, as I think we tend to, because WWE especially is very based in the US. And of course you consider Canada because of legacy and stuff like that. But like again, Beef, like you said, it's World Wrestling Entertainment. That was something special because not only was it good for the performers, was it good for the events, but it was fucking good for the soul of the wrestling fan watching at home because they went, oh fuck, we all love the same thing. Like it
gave the wrestlers, man.
Well, no, that's what I said is for the performers. Like it makes you go like, shit, this really is global. This is global. This is not like that. And that's why I'd love to see more stuff in Germany. I'd love to see stuff in back in Australia. Hell, let's see some shit in India. Let's see South America more, because Bangladesh. If you've ever seen the Rock in Rio series, that when you watch bands like Iron Maiden Rock in Rio, Metallica Rock in Rio, Dream Theater Rock in Rio, you see any of these performances, the crowds are enormous. They're engaged the whole time, and the energy is endlessly flowing.
Endlessly flowing.
Yeah.
Japan too, I think.
Oh, Japan! Oh my God! Yes.
Would bring out a good crowd.
Hell yeah.
I think what's always kind of held WWE back on some of this is that the time difference, that they've always kind of worried about alienating their fans.
Home base.
Yes, by putting on shows that start at 10 in the morning, that start at noon. For me, fucking A, man. I love that shit. Like, I wake up, I have a big fucking breakfast, and then boom, pay-per-view at 10 a.m. Awesome, let's fucking go. Because then, it's you have your fucking night to do whatever you want to do. And if it's a great event, hey, that's a fucking bonus, man. And I mean, even dating back to fucking All In last year was fucking ginormous and amazing. Before that, Clash at the Castle was an amazing crowd. The international wrestling fan right now is in vogue, and I want to see, I want to see a WrestleMania in
Yes.
in in in
Yes.
in Europe. I
Please.
I want to see a stadium show in fucking Stadium Azteca in fucking Mexico City. Like I want to see, shows in fucking Sao Paulo, in fucking Tokyo, in all over the world because I think that these fans absolutely are chomping at the bit.
They want it. They want
do.
it
Yep.
so bad.
They're hungry for it.
Yeah. Send
Looking
me
back at the fucking theme, they're hungry for it and they want it more. So
Yep.
absolutely,
send me to the UK for WrestleMania and have Jeremy Clarkson be the host of WrestleMania. That's it. Life checked off. I'm good. Take me any day after that. I'm good. Like
and
done.
and
Perfect.
I think we'll see in the next few years how into his word Triple H is. Because I'll tell you what, it has been made very apparent now over the last few weeks that WrestleMania is a cash cow.
Yeah.
They're bringing WrestleMania to Las Vegas on Easter weekend next year because it was a bad tourism weekend. And Las Vegas was like, well, how do we fix it? Boom, fucking WrestleMania.
Yep.
That'll fix it. 100%. That'll draw so many people.
And it's weird to say that Las Vegas doesn't get tourists because they feel like they always get fucking tourists, and like I feel bad for Minneapolis, like I feel like it was theirs to lose and they lost.
They lost it.
But I mean, like that's the game, man. Like 5 years ago, Minneapolis had an amazing like brand new facility, state of the art, and then all of a sudden, fucking. They put one in Las Vegas, and it was like, oh, this is now state of the art. So like, yeah, like I think that that's going to be your draw is like the bigger arenas, the newer arenas, and like what the city is going to be willing to do to accommodate. And that I think is ultimately why Pittsburgh will never have a WrestleMania because we don't have like the infrastructure to support that shit.
Nope. What's there to do? Fucking nothing.
It would be a constant state of gridlock for fucking 4 days.
But you'd never get anywhere. Oh, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Infrastructure couldn't handle it.
From fucking Thursday to fucking Monday, no one would be going anywhere.
There'd be 4 bridge collapses because of the constant standstill traffic just on the fucking bridges.
Like, let alone
like it'd be the deadliest WrestleMania ever.
Let alone factoring in a potential Penguin postseason run or the fucking Pirates starting play. Like, if like that all kind of coming together would be a perfect storm. No one would go anywhere in the city at all.
And it's April in Pennsylvania, and they're all open stadiums. Get fucked.
Yes.
Oh, what are you talking
it doesn't
about?
matter how many roofs you put on, or how many like canopies you put over the ring. No. It's just gonna be Joe in a poncho all over again.
Fucking Michael Cole announcing Michael Cole announcing how cold it was on night 1 this year cracked me.
Oh my god,
name in Pittsburgh.
That shit was hilarious.
But like, yeah, so like, I hope that Triple H is a man of his word, and I hope that he's like, yeah, man, like, we hear you. Let's take WrestleMania to the UK. I would love to see it, and I love the fact that I talked about it a little bit last year too, but like this year we had Backlash in France.
Yeah.
Did we have an event earlier this year?
No.
International? I don't remember.
No.
But like last year we had like Backlash in Puerto Rico. We had Clash the Castle. This year we had
Australia, right? That was this year.
Yeah. No, yeah. Australia was Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Toronto. I think Toronto has
Eh,
Money in the Bank.
it's not
Toronto has
international.
Money in the Bank. Yeah, Backlash from France, and then Clash of the Castle. The Bash at Berlin. So like, yeah, like I love that we're getting a lot more of these, and let's go. Let's fucking go.
And honestly, I think nowadays do WWE, are these even on pay-per-view anymore? Like, can you even get a WWE event on pay-per-view?
In America or elsewhere?
America.
Elsewhere you
America.
can. Elsewhere
No,
you
no,
can.
America. No,
No, I think
America.
no. I don't think they are in America.
So, like, right there, I think is, since you're not having to worry about pay-per-view buys, if you're watching WWE, you're already subscribed to Peacock. So having it in a different country, I really think doesn't factor in anymore to the United States crowd. Because if you can't watch it at like 10 a.m., like if we have a child activity to do on a Saturday at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. or sometime during the day, not a problem. That evening when we're having downtime and when the kids go to bed, I'll pop it on the network and watch it. It's not like WWE is missing pay-per-view buys anymore. With the WWE network, watch it whenever. Can you catch it live? Great. If you can't because you have other obligations, well, whenever I have a free time that day, boop bop, there it is. Right there on streaming on the WWE network on Peacock at the touch of a button. Simple, easy. I feel like they have to worry less now about the US crowds because they don't have to worry about pay-per-view buys. And I don't think anyone who's subscribed to Peacock and watching WWE is going to go, oh, there are too many events in foreign countries and it's not prime time for me, unsubscribe. Nah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to make you do it.
You'd be surprised, man.
No. No one is canceling their Peacock subscription because WWE put on Backlash at 10 a.m. United States time.
I have the feeling that there's probably a decent amount of contingent of the WWE fans in this country that are like, America, why are we having all these,
No,
stop it.
Stop it. Stop it.
You'd be shocked.
No, stop that. No one, okay, someone might complain about it. Nobody's doing anything about that, though. And the amount of yee-haw, rednecky, American flag waving, anti-anywhere else people in this country, fucking guy is a shit ton smaller than I think a lot of people want to believe. Just because someone leans a little bit closer to one side that maybe you might disagree with doesn't mean that they're anti-everywhere else. And no one is canceling a subscription to anything because WWE is having a couple events in a different country. That does not happen. They might bitch to their friends about it. They're not gonna. No one's canceling anything.
Yeah, that's probably about accurate for sure.
And honestly, bitch away. Who cares? I don't think WWE gives a shit about anybody bitching about anything. As long as the numbers on the subscription count is going their direction, fucking bitch away.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's as troubling as it is being an AEW fan right now. It's frustrating. I wouldn't even say
it's frustrating.
Yeah, probably not troubling. Yeah, not troubling. Not yet.
It's amazing to be part of like what's happening in WWE right now. And again, like seeing that this resurgence that they got going on. Again, if you haven't checked out the brackets for King of the Ring, I recommend doing so because it's fucking unreal. Like,
it's real fucking good.
The last several years we've been conditioned to it being a bunch of ham and eggers.
Uh
Yep.
All due
Yep.
respect to Xavier Woods and Zelina Vega, like whatever. You know,
Whatever.
this
Fuck off.
year feels like we're kind of back to the years of, fucking Brett and Owen and fucking Steve and fucking Triple. Like this.
Yeah,
This
show me
feels like
show me brackets when you have like Edge, Angle, Austin. Taker was in them.
exactly.
Damn.
Brock was another one.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So like and again, like I'll say it again. I think that TNA is becoming a real fucking fun product to watch again. I've
Good.
got a couple of their premium,
Dude.
of their pay-per-views,
Yeah.
and
Hell yeah.
so again, like it's not all doom and gloom, and even on the AEW front, like they're still doing some fun stuff.
Yeah.
The way that they're working in Stardom, is I think fun. And even though I think a lot of the shine is off of Stardom anymore, I think that there's still a lot of great talent there. So again, like they're doing some good things, but yeah,
Yeah.
just give
Yeah.
me less Jericho or maybe no Jericho for like 6 months.
Oh.
Give me less of the elite running things for fucking Gorilla and like pretending that they're running the show. Like just give me decent long-term storytelling with fun matches. That's all I'm asking for, man. That's all I'm asking for. That's all any of us want.
Yeah. You know what? I'm happy that TNA is doing well or doing better. Like that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And I really hope, like, we've hammered AEW really hard in this episode. Whoopsie daisy. Whoopsie daisy.
Episode.
We're setting out to sea looking for Tortuga here.
Say his name.
If you can't read in between the lines, there's been rum involved. So
I believe in
Joe Hendry.
Fucking no. But yeah, man, like I want AEW to get good writers, and like this is a big divergence, but again, I'm a pirate in more ways than one, and I'll do what I want. I've never understood the tribalism, man. Like, I've never understood the tribalism amongst fans.
Wrestling
like, I'm a fan.
Good.
I'm a fan of wrestling, and I don't understand. I don't understand the diehard WWE fans that post pictures of AEW arenas and go, "Oh, look at these AEW. They're not even half full. Boy, I'm sure you probably are glad you made that jump to AEW there, Adam Copeland, to perform in front of fucking nobody. Bark. Why are you rooting for AEW to fail? Like, as a wrestling fan, why are you rooting for a company who produces wrestling? Why are you rooting for them to fail? I don't understand the mindset.
Tribalism,
there.
man. It's tribalism.
I know, but fuck you and your tribe. That doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. How can you call yourself a wrestling fan when you're like, man, I hope this fucking wrestling company goes out of business. Look at these jabooks, jabing bong boogies. No, man, like, shouldn't you want AEW to thrive? Shouldn't you want them to do as good as they possibly can? Shouldn't you want TNA to do as good as they possibly can?
Theoretically.
It used to be, and again, like, not to get too high up on my, soapbox here, but it used to be friends could have a lively debates. You'd have your poker night, and you'd be talking your shit with your buddies, and not everybody would be of the same opinion, and that's cool. And I think that we have a decent smattering of that here, where we can have separate opinions but still be the best of buddies. Unfortunately, I think that the world is devolving from that to where it's very much like a single-mindedness. Like, if you're not with me, then you're against me. That's a Sith, because only Sith deal in absolutes. No, you can have a different opinion of me. If you like
So well
WWE,
done.
if you like WWE more than AEW, that's cool, man. If you like AEW more than WWE, that's cool, man. If you don't watch one but watch the other, that's cool. If you're here to say I exist on the fringes and I watch fucking, XPW and I watch fucking, all this shit, Revolver and
I
House of
watch a
Glory,
Kai man.
hey, man, have it. Have it. Have it. I don't care what you do, but don't sit there and piss in other people's Wheaties. And also, don't be a
Gross.
fucking cuck that goes to a fucking
Oh,
event
okay.
in the front row and gets all fucking sexist about the women. And then be like, oh, well, look how they dress. No, it's fucking 2024. Be a better human being, you fucking elephant man looking motherfuckers.
What are you
Okay.
fucking talking
Go
about?
fucking.
We
You
don't need to
guys-
talk.
you-
No, it's fine. It's fine. We don't need to talk about it. Like, we don't need to.
Yeah,
I don't even think it's worth giving this
That's fair. That's fair.
what happened
I'm
airtime.
just-
Like, I really.
I'm-
No one's
no.
listening. No one's really listening. We have a smattering of fans, but at the same
I hear
time,
you.
like,
I hear you.
I don't think it's even worth elevating
No, yeah.
this
Nobody's
person's
gonna.
behavior.
Fair enough.
That's
fair
fine.
enough.
You can cue me in after we're done.
All I'm trying to say is, like, just be good humans. Be good humans. Don't piss on other people's Wheaties just to fucking yuck a yum. Like, enjoy what you enjoy. Find others that do. And you know what? If you find somebody who likes something else, if you're open up to their point of view, maybe you'll learn to enjoy something else too.
I don't understand when, and I get like, okay, this is, again, I'm a pirate, fuck off. And this is divulging, but like, it has everything to do with this wrestling tribalism. But like, I don't know, or I don't understand why we as a society have taken such a hard shift into you're with me or you're against me. If you don't see the way I do, I don't want anything to do with you. Like, it's happening everywhere in so many different aspects of life. Like, I don't agree with what you said. You're done. I'm disconnecting from you. I'm writing you off. You're out of my life. Like, why is that so the norm anymore? Like, you voted for this person. You're done. I can't communicate with you anymore. I can't be in your life. I don't want you in mine. Get out. What the hell is that? Like, oh, you are like WWE. Well, I want AEW to fail. Like, I can't wait till they go out of business and rub your face in it. What the fuck is that? Like, why? Like, why can't I just enjoy what I enjoy and you enjoy what you enjoy? I enjoy all aspects of wrestling. I like AEW. I like WWE. I'm sure if I sat down and watched it, I'd like TNA. But if you like WWE and hate everything else, fine. Don't watch anything else.
I actually
Don't
think
watch AEW.
I really think Ransom would like TNA. I think he really would.
I bet I would. I bet I would. I wish I had the time to invest in it because I really think that I would enjoy it. But like, if you like WWE, then do it, man. Like WWE. But like, don't shit on everything else. Like, why? Are you just looking to get a rise out of somebody? Or like, are you just that type of unhappy person that you want to make everyone else unhappy because you're unhappy? Oh, you like AEW? Well, deep down inside, I'm an unhappy person. So I'm going to shit all over you and hope that AEW fails and rub every single tiny little oopsie doopsie that they do in your face because you're an AEW fan because I want you to be as unhappy as I am. Like, the fuck, man? Like, just live. Just fucking live. Live through. You know? Like, damn. I don't understand as a wrestling community. Like, and I see wrestling fans as a community, because I feel like we're a prime example. We all have, the royal we, the four of us here on the show, we all have our separate lives. We all have our jobs. We have our families. We all have separate things. But once a week, normally, sometimes things get in the way, but generally, once a week, we come together as fans of wrestling to talk about wrestling. And we have a mutual bond. We take time out of our week that we set aside to enjoy the camaraderie with each other that is the wrestling community. And I just don't understand why there has to be so much negativity and tribalism. Can't we just come together as the wrestling community and go, hey, you know what? We enjoy professional wrestling. We enjoy sports entertainment. We enjoy the physical art of what these performers are doing. And let's come together as a community and talk about it. Let's enjoy it together. And just be happy. I don't understand why we can't just be happy. I think there's so many people out there that just want other people to be unhappy because they're happy. Like, I think if you just came together and enjoyed it all together, everybody would be so much happier. I apologize. That was a grand divergence from like what we've been talking about, but like, oh my gosh, I almost pass out from rolling my eyes so hard when I see these posts about, oh, look at this AEW crowd. Look, they didn't fucking look at all these empty seats. Brr, brr, brr. Okay, but why? Like, does that make you feel good? Like, to shit on AEW, why is that making you feel good? Do you own stock in WWE? Are you trying to put AEW out of business? Why do you need to do a thing here? I don't know. Sometimes I think people just need a swift kick in the dick.
Yep, I think you nailed it. You know, people are fucking tribal, and we get. You know, as a sports fan, I'll say this: like, I think that there are some people who take sports to an unhealthy level.
Yep.
Like.
Right, but I think
if Beef's saying that, like think about how many people say the word we, and guilty, we, whenever they're talking about a sports team, like, oh, we better win this week. Like, no, man, they.
But like, you can say we. That's fine. That's fine. You can refer, when you talk about the Steelers, you can say we, and it is fine to be a diehard Steelers fan. And it is even fine for you to hope that the Steelers beat the pants off of every other team that they play. But I think there's a big difference right there. Like, that's sports in general, there's a difference. You're a live, breathe, bleed black and gold. But I don't remember you ever making mention of, man, I hope this team fails so bad that they have to dissolve and go out of business. Because when there's no teams left...
Oh, no. Beef has gone there.
Right, okay.
He's gone.
But like maybe in the heat of the moment. But like if that happens on the reg and there's no teams left for the Steelers to play, there's no Steelers.
Yep.
Like, and I there's not tribalism like that. Like, no one is being like, my God, I can't wait for the Bengals to go out of business. Like, fuck them, man. I hope they all go out of business. I hope that team crumbles and folds and Cincinnati just turns into, your mom's brothel. Like, just, there's none of that. Like, I don't know.
I agree. No, you're 100%. Honestly, I don't think WWE, the stands, if you will. I don't think the WWE stands would understand that, like, they're hitting their stride because of the competition that AEW created.
Yes.
Now, yes, a lot of that is also in part to change at the top.
Sure.
Absolutely. But like, also, I think people are doing, excuse me, a lot better now. People want in WWE want to be doing better to say, you know what, like AEW's really been outshining us. Let's show them what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, like this is in part as well to the fact that AEW exists. So yeah, I mean, because I remember what it was like when AEW wasn't around, WCW was out of business, and TNA was just a never will be. You
Yep.
remember
Yep.
03 to about, I don't know, 2015, 16, and 19?
Mm-hmm.
Not great years, which is sad because, like, you know, we had probably a guy who's going to go down and should go down as one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, in John Cena, like doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
There were bright spots, but overall,
bad. 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 So like that's why I popped to see John Cena come back anymore, because I want to see him get every bit of his due,
Mm-hmm.
because I know how good of a dude he is. And like, yeah, nobody's perfect. Okay, like he's made some mistakes and maybe not treated everybody the best on the way up. But like at the same time, like he's nowhere near like the fucking criminals that like came before him. So
No.
you know, and like he doesn't have an ego. So like, and there was a lot of guys like that, you know. Orton, same way. Like I'll always kind of grit my teeth and give the old Arthur fucking like fist curl, fist clench whenever we talk about Orton, because it's kind of a double-edged sword. Because like I'm like, dude, like let's move on from Randy Orton, but at the same time, like, how do you not respect a dude who's done what he's done for as long as he's done, as good as what he's done? So yeah, I mean, like, and like again, like there were tons of people who came and went during that time that never really got their due. Luckily towards the end of that crawl, we had NXT really lighting itself on fire.
Yeah.
Which was incredible for the business. But yeah, man, like it was bad. Like Leroy Brown. That's a dated reference. Stump the chumps.
Better spare the whole damn time.
This guy gets it.
We are at
216 right now.
Hey man,
maybe not.
Just like a WWE premium live event, this is available on YouTube and podcast apps. So,
are we gonna?
For those of us,
we're gonna pull Young Bucks here? Are we gonna go to the sponsors and get an overrun?
I'm just saying, for those of you who do listen to the first hour, go about your day. When you have time, come back and listen to the second hour. It's simple as that.
I mean, to me, this is a no-lose situation, because it's another Pat question. We either knock it out quick or we lose, and he's beating us 3 in a row. Like, we can't get any farther down than we are. So, like, no. I'm like, let's do it. Let's knock it out.
3 in a row.
Either it gives you something. Either it gives you guys something to brag about when he's back next week, when he's here with you two next week, or you just want to mention it with him. Whatever.
Is Pat coming on the show next week?
He is. The inmates are the inmates are in the asylum because me and Tom are out. So
I was looking for inmates. I take issue.
Love you, boys. I love you, boys.
I'm not going to say offense because I too many people these days take offense to too much bullshit. You guys are acting
like I'm in next week.
I'm not recording with that by myself.
And then a silence filled the room. We can't do that.
It's not as great as when you and Tom do it. I don't know what is wrong with my OBS, but like it sounds hotter than it should sound, and I've turned it down, and it just makes people sound hotter, quieter.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll figure it out eventually.
But so like,
give me the question.
Running the asylum. Suck my fucking toe.
Hey man,
fucking nerd.
every so often I like to throw out those like Raw 2009 lines. Was that like 9? It may have actually been later than that. Anyway,
I don't
speaking
like
of bad-
you don't seem to realize that I know where you live. B, I'm not as far away as Poot.
That's true.
And C, I'm not above sleeping it off for a couple hours and showing up at like 2 a.m. and causing a ruckus. I'll put my bare ass cheeks against your window and leaving a print.
Seen it. Also, my fanfic is finally going to come to fruition.
Yeah, girl, send your pic. Wait, what?
So
What?
Oh, this is an interesting question. Speaking of, who were the 6 ladies who participated in the ECW strip poker game in 2006?
Oh my
God damn
fucking
it.
god.
Speaking of fucking bad wrestling. Oh my god.
Speaking of me not being on the show either next week.
All right.
Enjoy recording by yourself, Pat.
All right. So
On behalf of OBS.
Kelly is a definite,
Wait,
right?
what year?
06.
Oh, so this is WWE CW?
Yes.
Oh, oh
shit.
god, this is the worst.
When was who was that girl? Lord. Who was that woman that was I think she was with ECW and then she showed up with WWE for a while. She was involved with like storylines with Tori
Marie.
Tori Wilson. She was ECW, right? Like OG ECW?
Yes.
Did she stick around long enough to be in WWE ECW or did that run its course by then?
Not that I recall. I think that she was gone from the biz by then.
Okay. My timeline's blur.
So we said Kelly, right?
ECW strip poker, fucking
yeah.
hell.
I think that she's a gimme because she's like one of the only things that came out of WWE ECW.
Well, it wasn't
Her and CM Punk.
I'm gonna say because again, this is kind of a misnomer for me, but going back and watching the cringe of this has been delightful. Like the ECW zombie. The ECW zombie, right? Right.
Yeah, where's more rum? I need more rum.
I would say during that time, wasn't that Candice Michelle? Wasn't she floating around?
Well, that would not surprise me if she was involved in that.
Yeah, because I like ECW didn't have many divas, so I would imagine that Candice Michelle would probably be part of that for sure.
Oh, was this also the time of like what was that weird the girl who had the like skater vibe to her? What was her fucking name?
Oh, Ashley. She would have been involved in that.
Ashley Massaro, is that who it was? The one who caused the whole ruckus and hubbub?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
she would have been involved
kind of
in
the
that.
first domino to fall for sure. Yep. All right. So that's 3 potentials for sure.
Who did you say? Kelly, Ashley, and who?
Candice Michelle.
Candice Michelle. Damn.
No, there was probably like some stuffy, like I don't want to be here. We shouldn't be doing this. Angela Martin type. That probably end up like losing everything.
Oh, Molly Holly. Was she still?
No, I don't think.
Actually, may have been it.
I don't think Molly. No, because that was well past the right to censor thing.
Yeah. You're right.
Well past right to censor. Which,
what about?
Side note,
what about
right to
Layla,
censor.
though?
Right to censor. What a delight. I'm sorry. Fight me. Right
Stop
to
it.
censor was
Stop
fun as fuck.
I agree with you.
I loved it.
What about Layla? Layla may not have been there either. That may have been a little bit
What
late
about
for Layla.
what was Was this
Raven?
was this the first run of Maria Kanellis?
No, Beth.
Beth
Yes, maybe
Phoenix?
Maria, but what about Beth? Yeah.
No,
She
she
would've
was
been that
never
one stuff you
involved in ECW.
Girl, are you high?
No,
I
I'm trying not to throw up.
I don't think. I mean, like, so is, a lot of these girls weren't. But like again, ECW didn't have 6 females on their roster. WWECW did not. So like that's what I'm saying. Like they definitely had to branch out.
Oh, who's the girl that's in the Kingdom? What's her face? She was in
Maria.
Dixieland.
That's what Pooh just said. Maria
Maria
Kanellis.
Kanellis?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, never mind.
Yep.
And would Tori
that's
have been involved in that too?
No.
Like Tori Wilson?
No, she had enough namesake at that point.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
All right,
No.
okay, well, I don't know.
Let me think. Oh, who was the one that was running around with not Malachi whenever he got rebranded a vampire?
Yeah. Ariel.
Was that Ariel?
Yeah. Shelly Martinez. Yeah.
Was her name Ariel back then?
Yeah. Kevin
Ew.
Thorne. Kevin Thorne with Ariel.
Kevin Thorne. Okay, well.
Yep. Shelly Martinez. Yep.
What?
Who?
I don't think that she would have been part of it, honestly. Given her character, like they never had any kind of weird jovial side to her. It was always very gimmicky. I am in for Kelly, maybe Candace, probably Ashley, probably Maria. Trying to think. 06.
Yeah, right.
06.
How many is that you just rattled off?
That's 4. That's 4.
I'm drunk and I don't know.
That's fair.
Kenny Omega,
right.
was he involved? No.
So this would have been
I don't know, man.
around.
We've kind of hit the ones that I know.
This would have been around WrestleMania 22 ish. I think WrestleMania 22 was 06. So, Mickey and Trish were in the match there. I think Lay Cole would have still been around, so maybe Layla was the. I just don't ever remember Layla ever being involved with things like that.
She feels too high dollar at that point to do something like that.
But, that was before Lay Cole, though.
Yeah, but why would they want to minimize her on that? You know what I mean? If they're gonna put her in a position like that, why would they want to berate her and put her into it's oh, look at this fucking idiot, and then put her in a high profile thing shortly thereafter.
What about Oksana?
Who the fuck is that?
Piece. Teddy Long's Russian side piece. Back down as the assistant general manager for a hot minute. Because that would have been around the era of the Diva search too, which was Layla and fucking hell
Indeed.
JBL's the lady who Randy Orton pooped in her bag.
Crystal or who the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, she was JBL's cabinet something or other, but she was hazed as she left.
Right.
But no, those are all kind of who was it would have been Nadia.
Nadia.
I'm just trying to think of one heel girl that would have been there, that would have been standoffy and be I don't even want to be here, and yet she's the only one that's actually losing any clothes during the whole night.
Don't pull on that thread, because you're gonna just focus on one aspect. Think about who would have been involved, instead of going, who had this one gimmick during this thing? Because I'll tell you what,
who had this thing?
Well,
I know about this.
It's like the wrestling, the wrestling IQ, it's the thing that wrestling does.
Well, I know that, but again, it causes you to have a fixation point versus getting you thinking outside your box. You know what I mean?
We got 4 names that I think, in the same token though, like, would Candace have been involved in something like that? Because she was, Playboy cover girl.
Yeah, but she was
Candace Mitchell?
wasn't she involved? She was one of the, what did they call them back then? They were WWE divas, and what they call them in ECW? They called them something else.
Strippers?
No, not strippers. Something akin to that, like fucking like, I don't know, ECW harlots or fucking.
Excuse me?
ECW fucking vixens. It was the vixens. They were vixens in ECW.
Mystical drippers.
I don't remember there being enough of them to be like a thing. If I'm being honest.
Whoa.
All right, so let's
Oh.
top down here again.
Say who we have.
Kelly, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Candice Michelle.
Yeah.
Ashley Massaro.
Yeah.
Maria Canales.
Okay. We're missing how many?
2.
2.
Balls.
I mean, the problem is during this time, WWE had a revolving door of smoke shows. You know what I mean?
They did.
True. It's true. Believe in Joe Hendry. I don't know, man.
Somebody different.
I don't know who else.
I'm kind of tapped out, man. Like,
Because again, like, this would have been. This may have even been pre-Divas title. Because.
Would there have been, like. There was a smattering, not many, but there was a smattering of, like. I don't think rejected is the right word. I mean, it's the correct word, but runner-up diva search contestants who wound up being like backstage correspondents and then had like a smattering of matches here and there, but they were never like prominently featured as wrestlers.
Right.
Would 1 or 2 of them have been involved in this nonsense?
I mean, possibly. Joy Giovanni was another one. I think she won the first Diva Search, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, what about Jillian?
Okay.
Maybe Jillian was the fucking the uptight, like, I don't want to lose my clothes.
Beef, I'm telling you, stop focusing on that.
All right, dude. I'm just saying, like, I think that this is the right time frame. You remember Jillian, right? The one who tried to sing that the thing on the face that the boogeyman ate off?
Goiter.
Yes.
Yeah.
The goiter. Oh, God.
Yeah, the goiter.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, she'd be because, like, there's no way they have 6 women that are like good guys just doing this, right? Like, there's got to be at least one foil, one curmudgeon. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out the curmudgeon. If you want to figure out who the other 5th face is, that's fine.
I don't fucking know. Like I told you, I said this is a gap in my fucking knowledge, man.
The curmudgeon may have been Mike Knox. Like, maybe Kelly was getting ready to finish, and like Mike Knox showed up and be like, no.
Mike Knox.
No with
Jesus.
beard.
No with beard. Jesus Christ.
I don't know, man. Like, at this point, I think it's a guess.
Dude, I don't know. I have no earthly idea.
I'm gonna go on record saying I think it's probably either Jillian or Layla was like the heel of the six, but I don't, again, that's a guess, just based on who was there. And again, I'm not 100% certain on any of them except for maybe Kelly Kelly. I think Kelly Kelly's the one that I'm probably the most certain about. And it tapers off from there. So again, we have Kelly Kelly, Ashley Massaro, Maria Kanellis, Candice Michelle.
Reach into your beef with your fucking insane weird knowledge. Reach into like oddball divas. I want like oddballs.
Wasn't there? Wasn't there like an old diva named Trinity?
Yep.
Who the
I don't
fuck
remember
is
her very well.
Who the fuck
I don't know,
is
man.
Trinity?
I'm throwing out like old obscure names that I can try to come up with.
She's from TNA.
She was in WWE though for a hot minute.
Was she?
I think.
I don't remember that.
Fucking hell, man. I don't know. God.
Oddball divas, huh? I mean, we've hit most of the ones of this era.
Yeah, wasn't she in the FBI?
Yeah. You're right. Was she Trinity in WWE though?
Oh, I don't know. I thought she was. Maybe she wasn't.
I don't fucking know. Like I said, I'm tapped on all this.
I'm done losing to Pat. Put your thinking face on.
I think Ransom's probably right, and the FBI would have been an ECW stable. Ergo, she was probably involved. So we'll stay here tentatively. Just because an account, and anytime Ransom like finds a cord to tug on, he's usually right.
I mean,
and I say the same to you. Like as soon as you grab onto something, you're like, yeah, like that's, yeah.
Well,
now again, look, I need. Excuse me. I need all of you to strap on your calm down pants and understand that this is not. Don't get too sensitive. Don't get too sensitive on what I'm about to say here, all you fucks. But this entire list has been predominantly one shade. I'm thinking there has to be somebody in this who is non-Caucasian.
Well, that's what I was saying, Layla, man.
Was she Latino? Latina?
No, I think
what's the proper thing? Italian.
I think yeah, maybe she's a little bit of like a darker skin. So that's what I'm saying.
Dude, if she's Italian, that's white. Okay.
Yeah, but like
I got first-hand knowledge of that, son.
I don't.
Well, didn't
Are you
said Massaro won that the Diva search, right? You guys said that earlier, right?
She's
what? No. Hear me out.
Caucasian.
They always did the thing with like they did it with Tough Enough. They did it with the NXT. You all right? They did it with Tough
Jared
Enough.
Came down to the garage and scared the shit out of me.
They did it with NXT.
What?
Get the fuck out of here.
What
happened?
Tara heard me make reference to her, so she came down here all up in a huff. What making reference about? I told Beef that Italians are Caucasian, and I said I know from experience, and he goes, "Do you?" I said, "Well, what? You could call my heritage into question."
That's
Because
fair.
she'll tell you a thing
So
or
wait,
two.
so like,
that's fair
but like
point.
they did it with Tough Enough. They did it with NXT where they had not only the person who won,
Oh boy.
but like they had other people from that got contracts. Did they do that with the Diva Search when Massaro won?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Joy Giovanni was in that
Gross.
area, was in that
Caucasian.
era, as was I think her name was Amy something, with JBL. Um, like so it's like those are all
Wasn't
people
that the
that
one
were
that Randy
involved in
Orton
this.
shit in the bag of?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
like, I don't
she
think
would have
would
been in
involved
this.
in this.
Caucasian.
Yeah, no, huh? And like it's too late for Jazz because I was thinking the same thing, Ransom. But it's like it's too late for Jazz.
Not
It's
Jazz,
too.
no.
It wouldn't be Jackie. It wouldn't be Ivory. I don't think.
Too late for Jackie,
Um,
too late for Ivory, too early for who's the girl that we always shit on for being not good, who's not Caucasian.
Snooker's daughter.
No, the one that
No.
the one who had the foxtail, Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox, no,
Yeah.
not her. Too early for her, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely too early for her.
The one that had the foxtail. Oh,
No, the one
there's someone we're missing in here. Gross.
gross.
Damn it.
Fucking
I would have thought that ECW 2006 would have been a blind spot. Everybody in the
everybody,
world.
literally everybody in the entire universe.
Fuck you, Pat. What are you trying to prove here? Huh?
Kick him off. He's not a fan. You're not allowed to be a fan of the show anymore. You're not on the show, so I can't kick you off the show, but I can kick you off of being a fan. You're banned. Banned from being a fan. Get out.
Fan. Hope you guys tell him off next week because of this.
Wait, who did
I'm going to tell him, be like, all right,
you guys?
8 o'clock sharp, and I won't
Who
be
were you guys talking about with the boogeyman before?
Jillian.
No, not her. They're not going to have an all-Caucasian cast in this. Like, I'm just...
I don't
It
think they
sounds
had a
like
choice,
her.
brother.
It's, Ransom's being all Ray. It's not that, though.
No.
Like,
I don't think they had a choice because the divas like weren't there. There wasn't a great like smattering of there wasn't a lot of inclusion in the divas, man. Like it was a lot of like white blondes.
well, fuck.
It was a Vince McMahon thing.
Well, speaking of pooping on people, fuck.
There's a fuck. Who the fuck are we forgetting?
I don't know, man. I'm ready to call it. Like I don't think we're going to get any closer.
Crystal.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Nope. That
Didn't she shack up with Bobby Lashley at one point?
She sure did. And that was that.
And she
that-
was
that
in
would have been
WWE,
around-
right?
Yep, that would have been around the same time frame. But I don't.
But she wasn't prominent. Like, she wasn't prominently featured, but she probably would have been prominently featured enough to be in this.
You think?
Well, who else are they going to get? We're racking our
okay,
brains for another person. Who are they going to get?
I'm on the poop bandwagon of like you're not gonna put your starlets in here.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
But it would have been a good place, like Kelly. All right, so in theory we'd say Kelly, Maria Canales. That's probably wrong. Ashley Massaro, Candice Michelle, Crystal, and who?
Trinity.
Wait,
Did
who
we
are
say
we-
Trinity?
Trinity. Okay.
Are we not
I mean-
thinking Crystal?
I mean, Lashley was the ECW champion, so like it
but-
stands to reason.
But think about the time frame, man. Like unfortunately, and I hate to say this, women were not used well, man.
No, I agree.
I'm spitballing. I'm not saying definitely her, pick her. If it's not her, I'm by all means say no. Like I'm spitballing. Like if you guys don't think it's one of those people, then freaking veto it because I'm good with that. Like I'm not willing to die on any of these.
No, I agree. I just feel like because Layla had the British accent, so like I don't know, man. Something telling me I don't know.
Beth Phoenix, would she not have been around at this point?
No, they wouldn't have put they wouldn't have put Beth Phoenix in this.
Okay,
get off that.
So she would have been too high profile.
Also, yeah, and also she was a diva. Like she never held the women's title, only the divas title, and this is when the women's title I think was still in existence. So like this is prior to this is prior to Lay Cool. This is prior to this may have been like in the throes of like the Mickey Trish feud.
So none of the prominent Divas champions would have been featured in this, right? So
probably
Trish is out, Mickey's out, Lita's out.
Melina's probably out, I would say.
Melina's out.
Yeah. So like this is I think gonna be like a bunch of like young girls.
Was this before Gail Kim?
I don't think they would have had her in this at all.
She wouldn't have been in it. Okay.
This would have been after her, but I don't think that she would have been a part of this. No.
Was Victoria around?
Maybe.
No, this would have been after that because she was rooted in the she was rooted in the Attitude Era.
Yeah. She was definitely at
so
least a few years, right?
I'm just trying to think of divas. Like I'm just trying to freaking. Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think that we're on a pretty good track here with
you said Tori's
Kelly.
out.
Yeah. So like Kelly, Candice Michelle, Ashley Massario, Maria, those are all people that were like young at the time and like still trying to so like they absolutely would have been part of it. And especially those four because they were fan favorites that people loved to ogle. So absolutely, I think that they would have been there.
Was there like another like diva Playboy cover lady that would have been involved in this nonsense shenanigans?
No.
Oh, fucking hell.
the only two of that era were Maria and Candice.
Well, they're already on the list, right?
Yeah. I'd say those four, Trinity and Layla. That would be my guess. That's again, absolute guess.
Trinity, Layla.
I'll go with whatever you guys say because I'm spitballing and I have no hard.
I don't feel like
evidence to die on.
Who was the one you talked about that was with Bobby Lashley?
Crystal.
You feel like it would be Layla is more likely over Crystal?
I do.
Why?
Because
Layla was a bigger name at that point. I remember Layla and I wasn't watching.
He was not a bigger name at this point.
Didn't she? She didn't reach recognition until like Lay Cool happened, right?
Exactly. So
I don't remember what she did before Lay Cool. Like I remember hearing about the name, but she doesn't ring a bell as far as like being like widely recognized before they had their it wasn't a tag team, it was like a
Yep, they were co-champions.
Title run. Yeah.
It's actually women's title because they destroyed the original women's title and each of them had a half. So it was like a friendship break. It was great.
That's right.
I love 90% of that up until the Piggy James stuff. Like that's and I know that that's not them. I know that was all Vince, but like come on.
Yeah, it was a bad storyline. It was just a bad storyline. They got roped into it.
Yep.
What were they going to do? Say no and get fired? Like,
I mean, Poot, if you're saying, oh, I think it's Crystal over Layla, that's fine. Like, I'll roll with that. I just, want it on the air that says that I think it's Layla.
I just, like, for me,
Jillian,
and this
you think is out.
the only...
I do.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Okay.
the only reason that I say that is because I'm speaking from someone who didn't watch at that time, and I know Layla over Crystal. I feel like even in the dumbest part of WWE, they wouldn't throw someone who has namesake. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I just...
Blank, Candice, Michelle, and Maria Kanellis. Come on, man.
I know, but I don't know, man. It's sitting in my gut face because especially Ransom just blurted it out of like Crystal, and I was like, whenever Ransom does shit like that, I'm leaning in on him.
That's fair.
Well, don't fucking base your bullshit on me now.
I'm basing
James,
that bullshit.
Mr. Big face. Don't do it.
All right. So then we're gonna say Kelly, Candice, Michelle, Ashley, Maria, Crystal, and Trinity, or whatever Trinity.
Amy Weber wouldn't have been one of them. Amy wouldn't have been.
Amy Weber. That was JBL's one.
Yeah.
I don't. So like, I think that her and Joy and Jillian were all in a Divas search after this. I think that they may have been a part of like the second Diva search or whatever.
Wasn't there a Brooke as well?
Guys, I'm going to do this now just because this episode is going so long. Like, are we gonna we can sit here and wax upon like other things? Like, are we gonna pull a trigger or not?
Was Christy Hemme around at that time?
Christy Hemme. She absolutely would have been. But I don't think that she would have been involved in this.
Okay. I'm just trying to help. I don't know.
I know I'm being the bummer fucking drummer here, but like, I mean...
Oh, what else is new?
Yeah, he's not wrong. The man stands strong.
Nah, I'm just being an asshole. Don't worry about it.
The only human like the rest of us, but he can make you an official stinger.
I think that Trinity is Tracy Brooks, by the way. I think that Trinity, Tracy Brooks, I think that they're one of the same. So like, I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
I guess not then. All right. I'm doing it. I'm saying it. Kelly, Candice Michelle, Ashley Massaro, Maria Kanellis, Crystal, and Trinity. Cool?
Bet.
Stop saying that. My son says that. Stop saying that.
Holy fuck! Crystal, Maria Kanellis, Kelly, Trinity, Candice Michelle, Ashley, and Massaro. I can't even fucking believe it.
Oh, Lord.
Can't.
That cancels out his last 2 wins. He can't come on
believe it. I
Putin Ransom next week. That's it.
Fuck you, Pat.
No idea how we got there. I have no idea how we got there.
Because
fucking Poot, that's how. Because you talked us off the ledge of all those. Yeah, you.
Why me?
Because I was throwing out a fucking hot dog cart worth of names, and you're like, no, not them, no, not them, no, not them.
Because I was thinking of people I recognize, and I'm like, well, I didn't watch it that time, but I recognize that name. Why would they throw that name on the fucking pile of cards that was the nightmare of that?
I'm giving you credit for the win. Take the win.
Okay, I'll take the win. I'll take the win.
You motherfucker.
I'm already home.
I've never met a man who fought so hard to not be like the guy who caused the win. I've met a lot of people who are like, nah, man, we didn't lose that one because of me. We didn't lose that one because of me. And Poots over here like, we didn't win that one because of me. Like, I didn't win it. You fucking did, you motherfucking guy.
I'm sorry, it's my self-deprecating thing. I'm working on that with my
I'm going to defecate on you, self-defecating.
I think it was all of us, man. It was the dream team. I got I got 3 of them, ransom shouting random names and Poot like keeping us grounded, man. It fucking works.
Poot's like, all right,
fucking
I'm putting a
works.
stop to this. Stop saying names.
Ransom's ridiculous fucking random fucking names got us to win. Him going fucking Crystal, fucking Trinity, like just I don't know.
Yeah, but I kept going though. I kept going into like bullshit.
That's true. He did.
No, she wasn't.
See, I kept going. Poot was like, nah, man, quit it. Stop your doings.
Someone's got to rein you in, man.
You're not wrong, homie.
All of that being said,
do it. Do it.
Give him the business.
Fucking do it.
I'm gonna.
I gotta pee.
Let me
Let's
do
wrap it up.
I'm gonna. I was gonna. Pat, this is a motherfucker of a question. You son of a bitch. Don't you ever do something like this again, you motherfucker. On episode 284 of Monday Night Raw, who beat the champ? No, we're not doing that. But guess what? Even with your inane bullshit, we still spiked it in your face. So, Pat, you brought your best, but we sent you packing. And just like normal, back to how it is. You lose, sir, and you get nothing. Out.
Thank you all for listening to the P3 podcast. It was back to the OG triad here, and Tom, we hope you're having fun out on your nice little Cruisapalooza, baby. I hope you're relaxing. I hope you're having a good time. We hope you're having fun, and we love you.
He hasn't even left yet. I'm leaving the same week as him, and I'm here. Dedication, damn it.
Get those bevs on.
Yeah, you got to drink. You got it's vacation. Drinky poos. It's time for the drinky poos. Little wraparound. That's all it is. But thank you all for listening. Details down in the description. And I'm just getting some breaking news here. Beef the Legend has been diagnosed with a terminal case of Segondi's. Beef, how do you feel?
Hello, Segondi's.
Segondi's nuts, dude. Have a good night.